Chapter 1227. Jiutian indeed has many worlds of the same level, such as the first heaven and second heaven. Who knows how many worlds of the same level exist? Later on, the heavenly regions will slowly merge. However, some places have a level restriction. For example, the Nightmare World can only trigger the Ghost Pet mission before level 20. The problem is that no one can complete the mission before level 20. Another example is the Sky Mount Dungeon. It also has a level restriction and can only be entered before level 40. However, at that level, 99% of people can't even find the Sky Mount Dungeon, let alone kill all the bosses within the time limit. Once someone completes the corresponding mission, the mission will disappear from the Jiutian region. This is the so-called only one in the entire server. Lu Chen really had to admit defeat this time. This woman was like a Jiutian encyclopedia. She really knew everything. What was the origin of her family? She even knew so much about these secrets. Xiaomin and Tinwing's missions are indeed the only ones in the entire server. When the servers merged, I was puzzled for a while. Why was I the only one with it? Lu Chen mumbled. Only you? You also completed the Nightmare World's mission? Ling Long widened her eyes and looked at Lu Chen in disbelief. I did. Unfortunately, Xiaomin died protecting me. I will find a way to revive her, Lu Chen said. Ling Long suddenly realized that she, a 9 tribulation true celestial, was almost angered to death by this mortal. She had the information and the inheritance, but she couldn't complete the mission. In the end, this guy did it without knowing anything. Looking at the confused Lu Chen, Ling Long became angrier and angrier. Suddenly she said, my Ice Phoenix is also the only mount in the entire server. I don't believe that your Tinwing can really make my Ice Phoenix submit to you. It must have only been affected before. Lu Chen had an ominous feeling. This woman might be taking things too hard. Don't tell me you want to try. Actually, it's just the level of the mount. You don't have to care so much. Of course I care. The ancient books have compared the Ice Phoenix and Tinwing. The Ice Phoenix is not much inferior to Tinwing. Ling Long said angrily. Big sister, calm down. It's not good to have your heart waver. It's none of your business. Besides, even if I'm angry, it's because I want to win. In the fight for the Great Tao, if I don't advance, I'll fall behind. I can't lose my desire to win at any time. Lu Chen held his forehead. This woman was really crazy. However, when he thought about it, it made sense. She had gone through countless dangers and endured a 9th level heavenly tribulation in order to become the strongest. In the end, her mount couldn't even compare to a mortal like him. As expected, Ling Long summoned the Ice Phoenix. 10 wings. Keep a low profile. Lu Chen greeted 10 wings quietly, only to be interrupted by Ling Long. Hey, what do you mean? Are you looking down on me? Lu Chen sighed. Do you really want to humiliate yourself? You're the one who's asking to be humiliated. Ice Phoenix, so what if you have 10 wings? I'll use the might of the Phoenix to intimidate you. The Ice Phoenix immediately let out a phoenix cry and roared at the 10-winged man. A storm of ice and frost swept through the world, accompanied by the phoenix cry. The 10-winged man frowned slightly and glanced at the Ice Phoenix with his dragon eyes. After a moment, the 10-winged man grew impatient and roared at the Ice Phoenix. Roar. An earth-shattering dragon roar shook the surroundings. It was also filled with the power of dragon fire. In front of the dragon's might, the phoenix's might was nothing. When the two mounts competed, the difference between them was obvious. In an instant, the Ice Phoenix immediately became obedient. It lowered its head and nodded slightly at the 10-winged man. The 10-winged man didn't want to lower himself to her level. After all, his master had said to keep a low profile. He just turned his head and looked elsewhere. This. Ling Long's eyes widened. Her face was full of anger, but there was nothing she could do. Why is there such a huge difference? Didn't you say they were of the same level? Hey, tell me, why is there such a huge difference? Lu Chen was helpless. I don't know either. Don't you know more than me? Ling Long gritted her teeth and stomped her feet in anger. I don't want to go with you. See you never. After saying that, she jumped onto the Ice Phoenix and wanted to leave. Unfortunately, without the 10-winged man's permission, The Ice Phoenix didn't dare to leave. Seeing that Linglong was unable to restrain her anger, and could only vent her anger on the Ice Phoenix, Lu Chen held his forehead. It seemed that this grudge had been formed. Linglong didn't succeed in leaving. Not long after the second see you never, the two of them rode on the 10-winged man, and headed to one of the exits to investigate. Do you want to eat a steamed bun? The steamed buns here are very sweet. Lu Chen looked at Linglong, who was sitting in the back. Linglong took a deep breath. She had been with this guy for less than 2 days, and she was actually angry with him. She felt that there was a risk of her emotions being restored after the tribulation. She had to control it. Do you know that you are very annoying? Linglong said calmly. Even if you have the 10-winged man, I wouldn't be angry with them. The key is that you look down on me too much. At first, you deliberately put away the 10-winged man. Then, you said that you had completed the Bai Ling and Sky Mount instances. Lu Chen chewed on the steamed bun and said, Why do I look like I'm asking for a beating? Your indifferent expression is asking for a beating. Do you know how difficult it was to complete those 2 missions? My family had researched hundreds of plans, but none of them succeeded. Do you think that I am angry only because of your 10-winged man? It's because you actually completed something that my family couldn't do for several generations. Lu Chen sighed. What did this have to do with him? Oh right. You said that it was your friend who saved me. I was talking about Rhubarb's friend. Who is your friend? Louis. Lu Chen answered weakly. The boss of the hidden instance of Divine Herbalist Valley, Louis? How is that possible? My family only mentioned that instance, but they didn't say how to enter it. Lu Chen sighed. Sure enough, this woman even knew about Little Green's background. Rebirth state can enter, but there are 2 conditions to enter. First, there must be a mission with divine blood and demonic seeds, and there must not be a death record. Rebirth state? The first heaven of rebirth? Oh my God, we didn't think of that. Wait, what is the mission with divine blood and demonic seeds? Why haven't I heard of it before? I don't remember where I picked it up. Big sister, that was more than 10 years ago. Plus the imaginary cultivation in the middle. How can I remember things that happened so long ago? Wait, you said that you reached the peak of the human king realm in more than 10 years. How is that possible? Did you take medicine to cultivate? Lu Chen had reached the 13-star Savage King realm in more than 10 years, but Lu Chen didn't dare to say that. If he did, this woman would probably ask 100,000 questions. Can't we have a pleasant conversation? Can you stop asking so many questions? Eat a steamed bun. Linglong narrowed her eyes and sized up Lu Chen. With her family's background, there shouldn't be many things that she didn't know. However, she didn't know anything about this guy. This was a Jiotian weirdo. Chapter 1228. In the following time, Lu Chen and Linglong checked the 13 exits one by one. These exits were distributed in various areas of Hongwu planet. Even with 10 wings, it still took them 2 days. The 2 of them checked the last cave. There was indeed a portal inside. In the end, they marked all the 13 exits. The 2 of them chose the 7th entrance, which had the most spirit energy dissipation, and entered together. This time, they were not forcefully pulled in. Therefore, after a short dizziness, the 2 of them landed steadily. However, as soon as they came out of the portal, the 2 of them were stunned. This world was already in ruins. However, from the dilapidated buildings, they could vaguely see the glory of this world. Unfortunately, it was not the glory of martial arts. This was a highly developed technological world. The nuclear power plant behind them was still working on its own. It seemed to be operated by artificial intelligence. Perhaps the spirit energy dissipation they felt was caused by this nuclear power plant. Sigh, I thought it was at least a martial arts world. I didn't expect it to be a technological world. Linglong shook her head. I should have left a teleportation mark on Hongwu planet. It's not easy to go back now. Lu Chen frowned slightly. No matter what kind of martial arts world it was, even if he could not get out for the time being, he could at least kill some monsters. Now it was a technological world. Not long after, a few mechanical soldiers rushed over with strange-looking weapons. Lu Chen and Linglong did not want to waste time here. They used their movement techniques to leave first. When they arrived outside the nuclear power plant, the two of them realized that this world was more desolate than they had imagined. Half of the nuclear power plant had collapsed. The city not far away was in ruins. There were ruins and bones everywhere. Lu Chen took a deep breath. This is the consequence of being sacrificed. This time, Ling Long did not mock Lu Chen. She knew that Lu Chen only had one last coordinate left in his world. A technological world can't be compared to a martial arts world. Their weapons are vulnerable in front of cultivation techniques. Their bodies are also very fragile. It's inevitable that they will be destroyed. Lu Chen sighed. The technological level of my world is not as good as here. This nuclear power plant has artificial intelligence guards. My world has not developed to this stage yet. Now that I think about it, Earth is too weak and fragile in this vast universe. Sighing, Lu Chen regained his spirit. Let's see if there's anyone here. No matter what, let's find an exit first. Yes. Lu Chen summoned Rhubarb and the little fur ball. With Rhubarb leading the way, the little fur ball lay on top of Rhubarb's head, protecting Rhubarb. After entering the city, Lu Chen discovered that there were also some strange creatures in this world. From time to time, some black shadows would flash past them and disappear into the ruins of the collapsed buildings. These creatures posed no threat to them, so Lu Chen didn't care about them. After walking in the city for more than 2 hours, night gradually fell. Suddenly Rhubarb, who was not far away, barked. It had smelled the scent of humans. Lu Chen and Ling Long quickly rushed over. In a dead end, Rhubarb was barking at 2 humans in ragged clothes. The 2 people, one old and one young, were holding some metal. They looked at Rhubarb in horror, trembling in fear. Rhubarb, don't scare them. Lu Chen stopped Rhubarb and looked at the 2 people. Are you natives here? Natives? We are survivors here. Are you humans too? Lu Chen looked at Ling Long. It seemed that they had found their target. Are there other survivors here? No. Ling Long suddenly pulled out her long sword and looked at the 2 people coldly. If you dare to lie again, I will kill you now. The 2 survivors were so scared that they hurriedly knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Lu Chen held Ling Long's hand and shook his head. Maybe they just want to protect others. The fiercer you are, the less likely they will tell the truth. Ling Long thought that it made sense and put away her long sword. Lu Chen walked over and helped the 2 people up. Don't worry, my friend is impatient. We are humans too. We won't hurt you. We just want your help. Help? We have nothing. Even living is difficult. We can't help you. The old man said. Lu Chen suddenly remembered that he still had a few steamed buns. He took out the steamed buns and gave them to the 2 people. We don't want your supplies. We just want to get some information. The 2 people looked at the steamed buns and were shocked. This is for us? Lu Chen nodded and handed the steamed buns to the 2 people. The old man immediately wolfed down the steamed buns. The teenage boy swallowed his saliva and carefully put the steamed buns into his arms. Lu Chen asked in surprise, "Why aren't you eating?" I want to leave it for my sister," the boy said. Lu Chen suddenly felt a pain in his heart. This child was so much like his old self. He smiled at the boy and took out another steamed bun. You and your sister both have steamed buns. It's a pity that it's a little cold. Ling Long looked coldly at Lu Chen talking to the 2 beggars. He was so natural and friendly, as if they were his family and friends. At this point, Ling Long completely believed that the man was not an immortal. He was a living person. Lu Chen finally gained the trust of the 2 people. They brought the 2 people back to the survivor camp. The so-called camp was just a sewer. There were only a few hundred people here, and they knew nothing about Lu Chen's problem. There will be black fiends outside. We don't dare to go too far from here. We don't know where the strange area is. An old man said. Lu Chen sighed. It seemed that the situation of the people in this world was worse than Hong Wuxing. Just as they were about to leave, the boy who got the steamed buns brought his sister to Lu Chen. Hey. We seem to know of a strange area. Lu Chen looked at the brother and sister strangely. You know of it? Yes. The boy nodded affirmatively. Previously, Xiaolan and I got lost. When I was looking for her, I saw a black fiend lair. I found many black fiends surrounding an abandoned mine. They went in one by one, but none came out. At that time, I was still wondering how the mine could contain so many black fiends. Now that I think about it, maybe that's the strange place you were talking about. Lu Chen glanced at Ling Long. She had the same expression in her eyes as him. Obviously, that place was most likely an exit. It was too difficult to find all the exits in this world. If they could find one first, they would naturally want to take a look. Can you take us there? Are you crazy? That place is just beside the Black Fiend lair. We'll die if we go there. The boy said. Lu Chen smiled. How many Black Fiend lair are there in your world? I don't know. I only know that the lair was the first one to appear, and it's also the biggest one. Lu Chen nodded. As a reward, I promise you that if you take me there, I'll destroy that lair. Are you willing to do that? The boy was stunned. Really? Ling Long had been observing Lu Chen as a bystander. Unknowingly, she suddenly realized that she was very curious about how this guy would escape the myriad world maze. Even her family could not complete the dungeon missions, but this guy could complete them. There must be something special about him. Chapter 1229. The boy's name was Little Sue, and the girl's name was Little Lei. They were children born after the war, and their parents passed away not long after they were born. Although they were young, they had been to many sanctuaries. After all, the siblings were young, and others were not wary of them, making them easier to be accepted than other adults. The eyes of the two children were far more mature than their peers, and they were less naive and pure. Little Lei was very afraid of Lu Chen and Ling Long, and had been holding her brother's arm tightly. It seemed that they had seen too much of the ugliness of human nature. After leaving the sanctuary, Lu Chen summoned Ten-Winged and brought Ling Long, Little Sue, and Little Lei to the Black Fiend's lair. When the siblings saw Lu Chen's mount, they were so shocked that they couldn't speak for a long time. However, Lu Chen didn't explain much. After all, to them, they didn't even know about the 9 heavens, let alone seeing a true dragon. There was a forest about 60 to 70 kilometers away from the city. This technological world used to pay attention to protecting primeval forests. While developing technology, they also took care of environmental protection. It seemed that their level of civilization was much higher than Earth's. Looking down from the sky, there was a huge hole at the edge of the forest. A large number of black demons lived around the hole, and their appearance was exactly the same as the black demons of Hong Wuxing. They should be the same species, Ling Long said. Ling Long said, even a world like Hong Wuxing couldn't resist it. This world won't be able to. Next to the hole, which was hundreds of meters in diameter, was an abandoned mine. It was surrounded by a circle of black fiends, but they only patrolled around the mine and did not approach. Is that the mine you mentioned? Lu Chen asked. Yes, that's it. Little Sue said with certainty. Lu Chen nodded and summoned Little Furball, Little Originator, and Little Beast. I'll leave this place to you. Don't destroy the mine. Oh yeah, we can move around again. Little Beast looked eager. After saying that, it jumped down from Ten-Winged with Little Furball and Little Originator. The 3 beasts went straight into the lair. Since it was also the Black Demon Army, there must be a Black Demon God here. If they killed it first, it would be faster to kill the rest. Not long after, the 3 of them successfully lured the Black Demon God out, and the battle quickly entered the killing phase. Ling Long couldn't help but shake her head as she looked at the 3 extraordinarily powerful fellows. A humanoid battle pet that has the power of multiple mythical beasts. I'm afraid only the beast god can do that. That little white mouse devoured food as if it was its life. It was ferocious and cruel. Combined with its appearance, it should be a heaven-devouring god-slaying rat. Nameless you. Ling Long really wanted to ask how Lu Chen managed to get his hands on these 2 fellows. However, after thinking about it, she really didn't want to see Lu Chen's indifferent expression again. Thus, she forcefully held back the question. As long as I don't ask, you won't have the chance to show off. However, she could ignore the beast deity and the heaven-swallowing rat, but that white tiger was too strange. Immune to both physical and spiritual attacks, extremely high elemental resistance, and the ability to absorb physical and spiritual attacks. These characteristics were simply too overpowered. What breed is that white tiger of yours? Lu Chen said. Originator is not a white tiger. It can change its form at will. When it was separated from me, it used this form to accompany my friend in battle. It has been using it ever since. It can change its form at will? Why don't I know about such a battle pet? You're so knowledgeable. You should know about it. Lu Chen was confused. He had found the model of originator when he tested Kong Xianxin on the pillars of the 9 professions, which meant that there were records about originators in the Jiutian culture. Later, Lu Chen was enlightened. Oh right. It wasn't a battle pet in the beginning. It was a puppet. Of course, he couldn't find originator among the battle pets. Puppet? It's immune to both physical and spiritual attacks, and can change its form after absorbing physical and spiritual attacks. Wait, are you talking about natural spirits? I think so. Lu Chen replied solemnly. She had been holding a grudge against Lu Chen for not telling her about the 10 wings of agility. This time, Lu Chen intended to tell her the truth, in case she misunderstood him again. It's said that natural spirits are the only puppets that can evolve into conscious individuals. Once a natural spirit gains consciousness, it can be classified as a battle pet. Not all of them. I can gain the senses and vision of originator through puppetry, which the little beast and the furball can't do. However, I can communicate more with the little beast and originator. There's still a difference. Ling Long didn't know how to look at the solemn guy in front of her anymore. None of his pets, battle pets, puppets, or mounts were ordinary. More importantly, he had so many of them. Those are all things that the spiritualists yearn for, but you also have the fate reversing set. What kind of monster are you? Lu Chen looked at Ling Long and smiled. Actually, you're also very good. You're the first person I've met to recognize the little beast and originator. Besides, your family knows a lot of hidden quests. They're more powerful than the average families. Don't you know that's the most infuriating thing? Our thousands of years of inheritance can't compare to your blindness. Lu Chen was stunned for a moment before he came to his senses. Others had studied it for a long time, but he had taken it all. Even Celestial Master Ling Long couldn't stay calm. One could only imagine how infuriating it was. However, this time Ling Long seemed to have thought it through. She sighed. It seems that there are still some things that I haven't let go of. No wonder my improvement is not as good as my elder brother's. Since I've become an immortal, I shouldn't dwell on these things. Then, she closed her eyes and sat down cross-legged. An unstable Tao heart is not good for cultivation. Eternal icy heart technique. Lu Chen finally breathed a sigh of relief. This woman was finally not so annoying. He turned around and walked to the brother and sister who were snuggled up to each other. He took out some jerky for his own use and handed it to them. Don't be afraid. You won't fall from here. Thank you. Little Su took the jerky hesitantly and gave most of it to his sister. Lu Chen smiled slightly. I used to have a sister too. Now that I've cultivated for so many years, I really miss the times when we stole meat buns together. You two wait here. I'll cultivate by the side. Little Beast and the rest should finish their battle within an hour. Seeing Lu Chen being so kind, the brother and sister finally relaxed and nodded solemnly. Lu Chen also sat down cross-legged and took out a large pile of beast cores. The creation bloodline was an ability bestowed by the dragon species. It was different from his wild monster bloodline. The wild monster bloodline was an ability of the battle soul, while the creation bloodline was an ability of Lu Chen's body. Currently, the creation bloodline could provide Lu Chen with a 10% attribute bonus. The bonus would not be counted in his level. In other words, if there was another 13-star human king, Lu Chen's attributes would still be 10% higher than his 10 wings bonus. I remember that the highest level of the creation bloodline is level 5. I wonder if it can be upgraded in the future. Let's not think about that for now. I think I need to consume beast cores to upgrade my bloodline. Although he could not access his personal panel, Lu Chen still remembered this information. At this thought, Lu Chen began to consume the beast cores. 27 million. Lu Chen felt a headache coming on. He did not count them and ate them. Instead, he grabbed a handful and stuffed them into his mouth. Chapter 1230. Beast cores and spirit pills couldn't be consumed directly by normal people. First of all, they had a hard outer shell. Secondly, even if the outer shell was broken, once the spiritual energy contained in the beast core was released, normal people wouldn't be able to withstand it. This kind of intensity could be compared to a spirit pill's self-destruction. However, there were exceptions such as Little Beast, Little Furball, and Lu Chen. However, Lu Chen's fusion method was different from the other two. Little Beast and Little Furball ate it directly, but Lu Chen, more accurately, fused it gently. When the black demon beast core entered Lu Chen's body, it would dissolve in Lu Chen's blood. The blood would then transport the spiritual energy released by the beast core to Lu Chen's body. The spirit pill would transform and strengthen his body. Originally, Lu Chen thought that if he took too many beast cores at once, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, when he took the beast cores, he found that the beast cores didn't reject his body. On the contrary, his blood could quickly dissolve the beast cores and transform Lu Chen's body. As long as he took the beast cores, he could upgrade his bloodline in a very short period of time. Without a panel, Lu Chen could only use his inner sight to judge the situation in his body. These black demon beast cores weren't of a high grade. Lu Chen didn't stop fusing with them, stuffing them into his mouth. After about an hour, he fused with nearly 500,000 black demon beast cores. Only then did he feel a change in his spirit core. Compared to before, Lu Chen's spirit core had increased by a little. He estimated that the upgrade of his universal bloodline should have increased his thinking attribute by 10%. Only 10%? Lu Chen was slightly disappointed. It wasn't that the increase of one level was too little. The key was that the universal bloodline seemed to only be able to increase by 5 levels. Of course, he couldn't rule out the possibility of the universal bloodline evolving, but at least Lu Chen didn't know if it would evolve. Even if it could evolve, how would it evolve? Therefore, he could only upgrade his universal bloodline to level 5. Level 1 is 10%, level 5 is 50%, and level 10 is 20%. My spiritual energy is 70% higher than others of the same level. However, it's hard to say if it's 3D. The key is that I don't know what the upper limit of others is. After becoming an immortal, Lu Chen believed that the other people had also broken through their three-dimensional limits to varying degrees. However, Lu Chen did not know the situation of the others, and could not be sure for the time being. Lu Chen had just improved his all things bloodline. Although it was only a small improvement, he still felt indescribably comfortable. He originally wanted to learn the 8 transformations of demonic god, but Little Critter and the others had already finished their battle. Little Beast then gave Lu Chen 500,000 Black Fiend Beast cores. Dad, the number of demons here is much less than Hong Wuxing's. The total number is less than a quarter of Hong Wuxing's. The Black Demon God is also much weaker. It's not enough to fight. Little Furball and Little Originator also expressed the same opinion. They didn't have enough fun. Hurry up and bring us to the world of martial arts. Lu Chen smiled. It's about time to go. After sending Little Sue and Little Lei to the shelter, the survivors looked at the flying dragon in the sky reluctantly. Some of them were already crying. Lu Chen stood on the dragon's back inside. I'm sorry, I can't help you clear all the black fiends. I don't have much time left. Ling Long said softly. Without the protection of the black demon god's spirit shield, their firearms can be used. However, to rebuild this place, I'm afraid it will take a long time. But at least you gave them a chance to live. Lu Chen nodded. This was the best he could do. He hoped that the siblings could live well. As there was not much information in this world, Lu Chen and the others had no choice but to enter the next world through the entrance of the mine. When they opened their eyes again, Lu Chen and Ling Long breathed a sigh of relief. The world this time was not a technological world. Look, there are people flying on swords in the sky, Ling Long said excitedly to Lu Chen. Lu Chen looked at the sky. About 100 people were flying in the sky, flying on swords. This is at least a high martial arts world. It might even be a super martial arts world. Ling Long was in a good mood. Lu Chen said disapprovingly. It's useless if it's not Shenwu. Who knows if this world in the labyrinth can lead to Shenwu world? Ling Long said. The higher the level of the world, the more understanding they have of teleportation portals. If it's a super martial arts world, they would have already known the location of all the exits. They might even know some information about the other side of the portal. In any case, it's much better than a technological world. Lu Chen nodded. Let's go. Let's see what those people are doing. Do you know how to fly on a sword? Lu Chen knew how to use soul manipulation, so it wasn't hard for him to fly on a sword or a spear. However, he had 10 wings, so he didn't train much. Ling Long looked at Lu Chen strangely. There's finally something you don't know? Saying so, Ling Long pulled out her sword. The sword floated in the air. She stepped on the sword and looked back at Lu Chen. Come on up. Lu Chen also jumped on. Speaking of which, with 2 people standing on the sword, and Lu Chen wasn't the one flying it, Lu Chen felt a bit unsafe. Hold on to this ribbon. If you fall, I don't care. Ling Long untied the ribbon from her head. She grabbed one end for herself and left the other end for Lu Chen. Just this? I think it's safer to hold on to you. If you dare to touch me, I'll cut off your hands. Ling Long turned around and glared at Lu Chen. Lu Chen quickly grabbed the thin ribbon with both hands. Done. Done. As soon as Lu Chen said that, the flying sword took off. Lu Chen almost fell. Fortunately, Lu Chen was also a person who could fly. Finally, there was no danger and he gradually grasped the balance. The 2 quickly caught up with those who were flying on their swords. Ling Long's appearance instantly attracted the attention of many men, mainly because this woman was too perfect. Even in this world of martial arts, she still stood out, making all the beauties pale in comparison. A man flying beside Ling Long shouted, "This lady looks a bit unfamiliar. Are you also going to participate in the Ling family's disciple test?" Ling Long didn't want to waste her breath on mortals. She said coldly, "Ask him." The man was a bit disappointed, but since he had already asked, he could only continue. Only then did he notice Lu Chen behind the beauty, who was holding on to a thin rope. He was trembling as if he was afraid that he would fall. "Hey, little friend, you still don't know how to fly on your sword? Are you this lady's servant?" "Yes." Lu Chen said. "You said you are going to participate in the Ling family's disciple test? There are no demonic creatures invading here?" "How could there not be? Ever since the senior sacrificed the Jiotian 30 years ago, the demonic creatures have invaded our planet. However, the more chaotic the world is, the more we need to cultivate talents to resist the demonic creatures. I really didn't expect that our planet would be sacrificed to the Jiotian. We are a world guarded by 10 immortals. No matter what, we can't just sit around and wait for death, right?" Lu Chen roughly understood the situation of this world. They had been sacrificed for 30 years, but because of their high level of martial arts, they had survived until now. However, this world actually had 10 immortals. Even they couldn't protect this world? "Brother, how is the battle with the demonic creatures going?" Lu Chen asked again. "Sai, the Black God is invincible. His strength is too terrifying. Even the 10 immortals together couldn't defeat him. Sai, let's not talk about it. If we continue talking, I'm afraid we won't have any faith." Chapter 1231. With this face, Ling Long was able to sneak into the Ling family. This was something Lu Chen could not imagine. If it were him, he would probably be stopped outside in minutes. The disciple who led the way took one look at Ling Long and fell in love with her. He was even threatened by Ling Long to gouge out his eyes and did not dare to speak. It was also the first time Lu Chen saw someone who was so self-righteous while fishing in troubled waters. "What are you looking at? Do you also want to?" Ling Long stared at Lu Chen, who was looking at her. Lu Chen hurriedly waved his hand. No, no, no. We have been traveling together for several days. I don't want you to gouge my eyes out." "But why are you so self-righteous without an invitation? They did not invite you. I am a true immortal. Coming to the Ling family is giving them face. Why should I shrink back?" Ling Long said coldly. "Besides, the more guilty you are, the more suspicious they will be. It is better to be strong and make those disciples confused." Lu Chen cupped his fists. "I admire you. Don't be so glib." Ling Long was still cold. "Let's go. If the Ling family is a big family, they should know about the exits. We need to find more exits in this world." Lu Chen nodded and followed Ling Long into the Ling family through the crowd. From the scale of the Ling family and the number of guests, the Ling family should have a big background. Lu Chen and Ling Long came to the VIP area with the guests. A middle-aged burly man walked up to the arena and cupped his fists to the crowd. I am Ling Yin. Thank you all for coming from afar. Today is the triennial disciple test of the Ling family. Although the Black Devil is wreaking havoc, and the people have no way to make a living, the 9 states and 18 countries are in deep trouble. 7 of the 10 great immortal martial emperors have fallen and countless experts from the big sects have died. However, the more it is so, the more we cannot give up on nurturing new disciples. For 30 years, my destined Earth star has not been attacked. 30 years later, my destined Earth star will not fall. As long as we immortal cultivators don't die, our fate with the mortal world will never end. Ling Long said to Lu Chen in a low voice. To be able to persist for 30 years, this world is not simple. Lu Chen asked in a low voice. 10 true immortals, in the fight for the coordinates of the 7th heaven. What kind of level is this? Ling Long shook her head. Relatively weak. A world with 10 true immortals is not strong enough? Isn't it hard for a true immortal to appear? Ling Long looked at the poor student and asked, do you know the law of the strong in Jiutian? Ah, what law? Ling Long was not surprised by Lu Chen's perplexed expression. The law of the strong is that the strong get stronger, the weak get weaker. It's the same for the various worlds. You should know that if 1 true immortal appears, there might be 2. If there are 2, there might be 4. The number of true immortals in those powerful worlds is beyond your imagination. On the other hand, some weak worlds may not even have a single true immortal. The martial arts level of this world should be on the lower side of the super martial arts level. The number of coordinates is around 120, and the protection period is not too short. In the end, there are only 10 true immortals. Sengoku has too few immortal supremacies, and itinerant immortals are too weak. Think about it, with only 10 true immortals guarding 120 coordinates. How long can they last? Lu Chen frowned. Itinerant immortals were not worthy of the attention of true immortals. In that case, Earth had been naked for the past 50 years, perhaps his father had considered this point, which was why he had placed all his bets on him. Ling Yun's speech ignited the passion of countless people present, and there was a round of applause. Taking advantage of the heated atmosphere, the test of the Ling family disciples finally began. 3-star cultivation master. The first young man to take the test directly tested his cultivation master realm. Everyone was in awe. However, other than the 7 or 8 disciples who got off to a good start, the rest of the disciples were all cultivators. It seemed like the order of the test was also intentional by the Ling family. Lu Chen was not there to watch the test. He brought Ling Long directly to the head of the Ling family. Ling Yun looked at the results of his disciples, but there was no gratification on his face. Sigh, if Liao Err had been born 50 years ago, he would have had the chance to enter the Jiutian to cultivate, but now, at the side, a beautiful woman said faintly, head of the Ling family, the Su family is the same. Looking at all these talented children, I really can't bear to tell them about their current predicament. Cultivation Master might not even have the confidence to win against the Black Demon one-on-one, but as long as the Black God is alive, the Black Demon army will never stop. Ling Yin sighed. In the battle with the Black God, 7 of the 10 great celestial martial emperors fell. Sigh. Even the 10 great celestial martial emperors could not kill the Black God, let alone now with only 3 people. The fate of Earth's destiny was almost unchangeable. At this moment, 2 strangers, a man and a woman, squeezed through the crowd and came in front of Ling Yun. Lu Chen saluted Ling Yun and said, head of the Ling family, I am nameless. After saying that, Lu Chen quietly tugged at the impatient Ling Long. Ling Long reluctantly gave him a fist salute. Ling Long, after greeting him, she looked away. Ling Yun looked at the 2 of them in surprise, and saluted Lu Chen as well. You 2 are? We are from the 9th heaven. Ling Yun, Su Zi, and some of the other family heads could not help but look at Lu Chen in shock. Lu Chen continued. It's like this, we accidentally entered the Earth's destiny star. Do you know where the exit of the Earth's destiny star is? All the family heads looked at each other. Accidentally entered the Earth's destiny star? The Earth's destiny star teleportation portal has been closed for 30 years. Where did you come from? Ling Yun was shocked. It was proven that for people who did not know the situation, they could not explain at all. But for people who only knew a little, it was more difficult to explain. Ling Yun probably thought that they came to the Earth's destiny star using the Jiutian method to return to the real world. Lu Chen said, "We did not come from the teleportation portal. We came from the seventh heaven and accidentally entered the myriad world maze. That's how we came to the Earth's destiny star." Seventh heaven. Myriad world maze. Ling Yun actually knew about the myriad world maze. "Young friend, are you an itinerant immortal or a perfected immortal?" Suzy suddenly became excited. Faced with this question, Lu Chen intended to brush it off. Who knew that Ling Long, who had been silent all this while, would speak at this time? "He's not an immortal. If you don't believe me, ask him to show you his badge." After that, she deliberately looked at Lu Chen provocatively, meaning to say, "Don't you have a lot of ideas? Let's see what you're going to do this time." Lu Chen was speechless. Was this teammate really here to escape the myriad world maze with him? Ling Yun and the rest were even more confused. He said that he came from the seventh heaven, but he was not an immortal? This was illogical. "Young friend, this kind of joke is not to be made casually," Ling Yun said seriously. "If you really came from the seventh heaven, can you disperse the fog around your badge?" Lu Chen frowned, sighed and said, "I'm not joking, that's the truth. Little brother, there isn't much time left on Earth's destiny planet. If you want to make fun of this, I don't think it's appropriate for you to do so." Ling Yun's expression had become stern. Obviously, he didn't believe what Lu Chen said. "That's right, if you really came from the seventh heaven, you must be immortals. As long as you show us your badge, we can even believe that you're an itinerant immortal. But if you're not even an itinerant immortal, how can we believe that you came from the seventh heaven?" Suzy looked at Lu Chen seriously. Lu Chen took a deep breath, looked at Ling Long and said, "Hey, what are you doing? Do you still want to go back?" Ling Long looked shameless, no longer looking like a fairy. There was no one else in her eyes. "Anyway, I'm not in a hurry. Can't I see your true strength? Don't you like to help people? Even 10 true immortals couldn't kill the Black God. If you can kill him, I'll listen to you for the rest of our journey." Lu Chen glared at Ling Long fiercely. Originally, he had been courteous to Ling Long because she had helped him a lot. But this woman had backstabbed him at the crucial moment. True immortals were indeed emotionless machines. He had to teach her a lesson. "All right. You said it. As long as I kill the Black God, you'll go east if I tell you to go west. You'll go west if I tell you to." Chapter 1232. TSK, don't beg me for help. Ling Long was unconvinced. "If you beg me for help, you'll have to acknowledge me as your master." "Don't worry, I'll treat you well." Ling Long raised her eyebrows at Lu Chen. Lu Chen's face was filled with righteous indignation. "So you've been having ideas about me. So what?" Lu Chen said angrily. "I've treated you as a friend, but you've been trying to take me in. Ling Long, you've gone too far." The conversation between the two of them had already stunned the rest of the crowd. This woman seemed to want to take this man in, but this man resisted. Someone whispered to his companion, "Is this beauty trying to force herself on him? Is there such a good thing? That man would rather die than submit? Hey, did I hear wrongly?" His companion pondered for a long time and shook his head. "I don't think you heard wrongly. I don't understand why he would rather die than submit. Could it be that in their world, women are superior to men, and men need to protect their chastity? That's possible." These people naturally didn't understand the seventh heaven, and didn't know what it meant to acknowledge a master, but they were still shocked by the quarrel between the two. Not to mention who would listen to whom in the future. The two of them were betting on the Black God. That was a super boss that could destroy Earth's destiny planet. Lu Chen shook his head and turned to Ling Yun and the rest. "Everyone, I'm sorry. My friend has such a temper. Since I've said it, then, if I kill the Black God, can you tell me the location of all the exits to Earth's destiny planet?" The group of big shots gaped and couldn't react for a long time. Young friend, you're not joking, are you? You can kill the black god alone? That's a monster that even 10 perfected immortals together couldn't kill. The 10 great celestial martial emperors are all 6 tribulation true immortals. You clearly said that you're not an immortal. How can you kill the black god? Friend, the two of you can fight, but this joke isn't funny at all. Lucian shook his head. Who said that only immortals can kill demons? I don't know black god's power, but even if I can't kill black god, it won't be a loss for you guys. That may be the case, but... Ling Yun hesitated again and again, then suddenly said to Lucian, Little friend, can you show me your badge? Although this was the real world, it was also a world that had been sacrificed. Unlike the planets on Ice Plateau, the badge was still effective. Lucian waved his hand, revealing half of the badge. Even Ling Long turned her head sideways to sneak a peek at Lucian's badge. Human King Realm. Human King Realm? He really wasn't an immortal. But how can the 7th heaven reach the Human King Realm? Ling Yun frowned. Young Senior, this is a serious matter. I'm just the patriarch of a family. I don't dare to make a decision. Can you wait for a moment? We need to inform the immortal martial emperor. Lucian didn't want to make things difficult for them. Tell them to hurry up. I can't stay here for too long. Very soon. The immortal martial emperor has a teleportation talisman. Please wait for a moment. Ling Yun left temporarily. It seemed like he was thinking of a way to inform the 3 immortal martial emperors. After a few minutes, 3 figures suddenly appeared on the arena. The disciple of the Ling family who was in the middle of the test trembled in fear. It wasn't just him. The surrounding seniors all knelt down and greeted the 3 people. Greetings, Great Emperors Wuxia, Great Emperor Tianrui, and Great Emperor Qingyun. The 3 of them didn't look surprised as they gestured for everyone to rise. Then the 3 of them teleported to Ling Yun's side. The youngest of the 3, the Great Earth Emperor, said loudly to Ling Yun. Ling Yun, you said there were guests from the 7th heaven who promised to kill Black God? Are these 2 people? Ling Yun said respectfully. Yes, Great Emperors Wuxia. Wuxia glanced at Lucian and saw the words Human King Realm. He frowned and shouted angrily. How dare a mere human king pretend to be an immortal? Lucian didn't change his expression. He cupped his fist and said, I never said I was an immortal. I only said that we came from the 7th heaven. How can there be a mortal in the 7th heaven? The other person shouted. Tell me, what is your purpose in coming to the mortal destiny star? Lucian knew very well that Ling Long wouldn't help him now. She was waiting to see him make a fool of himself. I accidentally entered the myriad world maze. It's that simple to find the exit, Lucian said. I also said that you will give me the location of the exit after I kill Black God. No matter if I succeed or not, you won't lose anything. The oldest Great Emperor frowned. He looked at Lucian and said, My young friend, my name is Tianrui. It's not that we are suspicious, but the mortal destiny star is in danger now. We can't even take care of ourselves. We can't afford to be disturbed. Your request sounds reasonable, but what you said before was hard to believe. It's common knowledge that the 7th heaven is the weakest individual immortal, but you're not. How can we not be suspicious? The old man was obviously more polite. Lucian said calmly, My situation is a little special. It's normal for you to be suspicious. So tell me, how can you be willing to believe me? The old man thought for a while and said, It's not difficult. You just have to prove that you're as strong as a true immortal. I have a true immortal's testing stone here. First, since you went to the 7th heaven, you should have the strength of an individual immortal. Second, you promised to kill Black God, so you should have the strength of a true immortal. As long as you can test the strength of a 7-star true immortal, I'll believe you. Lucian nodded. Okay, I'll test it. Thank you, Senior Tianrui. The Ling family's disciple test was temporarily stopped. The cultivator testing stone on the arena was changed to a giant stone the size of a small mountain. This is the immortal's testing stone? Many Ling family disciples looked at the stone curiously. Tianrui looked at the stone, then looked at Lucian and said, To be fair, let's test if the testing stone is accurate. Ling Yun, Suzy, come and test it first. The two family heads came to the arena. What are your levels? The old man asked them. Emperor Tianrui, Lingyun is a 3-star earth cultivation. Emperor Tianrui, Suzi is a 2-star earth cultivation. Tianrui nodded and took a few steps back. Test it. The two's final test results were the same as the results they reported in advance. However, their full-strength punches did not even shake the testing stone mountain. The reaction was not as big as when the other disciples hit the strength testing stone. This made them feel a little embarrassed. Then Tianrui walked to the testing stone mountain. He looked at Lu Chun and said, I'm a 5 tribulations 5-star true immortal. Then he hit the testing stone mountain with his palm. Suddenly, a powerful and boundless spiritual chi stirred up a gust of wind. The nearby disciples were sent flying dozens of meters away. If it weren't for the other 2 true immortals, they probably wouldn't have been able to stop themselves from flying. The testing stone mountain shook. After a few minutes, the results were shown. 5-star true immortal. The three's test results were the same as their own. It seemed that the testing stone mountain was accurate. Lil friend, it's your turn. Tianrui held out his hand and looked at Lu Chun with a smile. Lu Chun took a deep breath and walked to the center of the arena. Looking at the testing stone mountain, Lu Chun narrowed his eyes. He also wanted to know how many stars of true immortal he was. Chapter 1233. Lu Chun was already very familiar with the testing stones, but this was his first Celestial Realm testing stone. Celestial Realm Strength Testing Stone. There shouldn't be any accidents. Lu Chun narrowed his eyes slightly. Tianrui seemed to have heard Lu Chun's words. After thinking for a while, he guessed Lu Chun's meaning and said, You're not afraid of breaking the testing stone, are you? Lu Chun was a little embarrassed. None of his testing stones had left alive. Ha ha ha, I heard from Lingyun that you're nameless, right? Little friend John Doe, when we were young, who didn't break a few testing stones. But you don't have to worry. This is the Celestial Realm testing stone. It can't be broken. Lu Chun sighed in relief. Since that was the case, he could test with peace of mind. Senior Tianrui, don't I need to activate my status or use my cultivation technique? Mine doesn't need to. This is the Heaven's Divination Testing Stone. The stone mountain follows the heavenly Tao and has its own mysteries. You only need to use 50% or 60% of your spiritual power, and it can deduce your growth process according to the characteristics of your spiritual power and the laws of heaven and earth. Finally, it can deduce your current level. Tianrui explained, actually it has another function. If you can offer enough beast pills, it can deduce your upper level. This is also why I said you can't break the Heaven's Divination Testing Stone. You don't even need to use your full strength. How can you damage it? Lu Chen's eyes widened. It can deduce the upper level? That's right, but this function is somewhat useless. Firstly, according to the number of heavenly tribulations, those of us who came back from the sevenfold heaven have a general understanding of our own potential. Secondly, there are only 3 genuine immortals left in the dusty planet. The Heaven Divination Testing Stone only tests the potential of the human immortal path. Even individual immortals can't test it. The rest of the people in the dusty planet can't use it. Lu Chun hurriedly asked, Can I try this function? I have beast pills. You want to test your upper level? Didn't you say you're not an immortal? Then you can't be a true immortal. If you don't open the immortal path, you can't test it. Lu Chun didn't open the path to immortality, but his path of cultivation continued. Seeing that Lu Chun wanted to say something but hesitated, Tianrui said, If you insist on taking the test, you can contribute your own beast core. Before placing the beast core on the Heaven Spill Stone, it would automatically absorb the beast core. The Heaven Spill Stone can be tested if there are green runes flashing on the stone wall. Lu Chun quickly cupped his fists. Thank you. After saying that, Lu Chun placed the bags of beast dawn in front of the stone mountain. After placing around 100,000 Heaven Spill stones, a layer of green light flashed on the surface of the Heaven Spill Stone, faintly revealing a talisman. Green light flowed on the surface of the Heaven Evolution Stone. Tianrui reminded, The Heaven Evolution Great Formation has been activated. You can test it now. Since there was no need to store up energy, Lu Qin directly punched out with his own spiritual power. Tianrui said that he only needed to use 50% to 60% of his strength, but Lu Qin used 50% of his strength for this punch. With a loud boom, everyone felt the ground beneath their feet shake violently. Then the ground cracked. A powerful spiritual power suddenly exploded in the field. The two perfected immortals, Wuxia and Cheng Yin, were originally just watching the show casually. Who knew that nameless casual punch would produce such a terrifying spiritual power fluctuation? What are they doing now? Wuxia, quick, protect the spiritual power formation. Otherwise, this group of juniors won't be able to withstand the aftershock. What kind of joke is this? How can a human king have such spiritual power? Wuxia looked at Lu Qin in shock as he quickly joined forces with Cheng Yin to activate a spiritual power shield. Only then did the aftershock not continue to spread. Ling Yun and the other patriarchs were even more shocked. This spiritual power is even more powerful than Emperor Tianrui's? I think he didn't use his full strength at all. Just the spiritual power alone is already something we can't withstand? He's really just a mortal? The power of a mortal is comparable to an immortal or a demon. At this moment, Ling Long was nervously staring at the testing stone. Even though she was the person who was most familiar with Lu Qin's strength was still a mystery to her. Lu Qin quietly waited for the final result. He was also a little nervous now. How was the effect of these 4 years of closed-door cultivation? After waiting for 5 minutes, the entire place was silent for 5 minutes. Lu Qin suddenly had an ominous premonition. He stared at the heaven spill stone and turned to ask Tianrui, "Senior Tianrui, what's wrong? The result is still not out yet?" Tianrui was also staring at the heaven spill stone. "You're testing 2 items, and the results are out at the same time. It might be deducing your path to immortality now." Lu Qin heaved a sigh of relief. An hour later. That? Senior Tianrui, it's already been an hour. Lu Qin's eyes were a little dry from staring. Tianrui was also very depressed. The result was still not out after an hour? Sengoku and Venerable Immortals used the Heaven Spill Stone to test, and there were no problems. Why was it not working after this kid tested it? Look, the runes on the Heaven Spill Great Formation are still flowing. There should be a result soon. As soon as he finished speaking, the runes on the surface of the Heaven Spill Stone suddenly shone brightly, and a few words appeared on the wall. The heaven-defying path cannot be deduced. The moment that line of words appeared, the entire Heaven Spill Stone suddenly exploded from the inside to the outside. The explosion was so fierce that not a single piece of the Heaven Spill Stone was left. All of them turned into dust. The huge stone mountain in the arena disappeared in an instant, leaving only smoke and dust in the arena. At this moment, Lu Qin, Tianrui, Ling Long, Wuxia, and Qingyun's expressions were indescribable. Everyone else was petrified. After a long time, Lu Qin closed his mouth and swallowed his saliva. Obviously, it was impossible for this thing to stick together. Didn't you say that it wouldn't break? It's fucking broken to the point that it can't break anymore. Where's the trust between people? Is it so difficult to trust someone? Cough, cough, cough. This is an accident, Tianrui said absent-mindedly. It's more than an accident. This is unheard of since ancient times and unseen in 10,000 years. Behind Lu Qin, Ling Long said blankly, I really can't travel with this fella anymore, or I won't be able to take this kind of stimulation. He can even break the Heaven Spill Stone. This is something that has never been recorded in the ancient books of my clan. I'm afraid that it would be an accident if someone else broke the testing stone, but this fella, it would be an accident if he didn't break the testing stone. Lu Qin was a little embarrassed. As expected, it's better not to touch the testing stone in the future. I can't touch anything, whether it's an all-out test or a deduction test. However, the testing stone didn't show my rank at the end. Lu Qin said regretfully. Xing didn't want him to pay back then, but this time he wasn't familiar with Tianrui, so he probably wouldn't be so easy to talk to. Senior Tianrui, I don't have much savings these few years. Here are 800,000 beast cores, some medicinal herbs, spirit stones, and 3 sets of clothes, Tianrui sighed. Although the heaven spill stone is precious, we've already left Jiutian. What's the use of keeping it? Suddenly, the three true immortals, Tianrui, Zuoxiu and Chengyuan, stood in front of Lu Chun and cupped their fists at Lu Chun. Our only wish now is that Nameless Senior can kill the Black God. Chapter 1234. This time, Lu Chun had no choice but to accept the mission. For Dust Planet, this might be their last chance. Tianrui and the others did not dare to delay. They asked Lu Chun to wait for one more day to give them time to prepare. Tianrui and the other two great emperors issued a heavenly emperor order, requesting the powerhouses above the level of a great cultivator, and the remaining 26 loose immortals to rush to the Black Godly lair. The next morning, Lu Chun and Ling Long set off with the Ling family. To prevent others from being unable to fly, the two of them rode on the Ice Phoenix. People flying on swords could be seen everywhere in the sky. There were also many people riding on treasured mounts. These people must have taken some low-level mounts from Jiutian before Dust Planet was sacrificed. There are quite a lot of people. Ling Long said, "Are you really confident in killing the Black Godly lair?" Lu Chun looked at the woman. "You know the Black Godly lair?" "Who knows? Every world has a different name. But 7 out of the 10 true immortals were killed. That guy's strength is definitely terrifying." As she spoke, Ling Long gave Lu Chun a teleportation talisman. "If you can't beat him, use this to escape." Lu Chun looked at Ling Long in surprise. "You actually care about my life? Don't you immortals have no feelings?" Ling Long's expression changed slightly. She seemed a little depressed. After a while she slowly said, "My family is known as the #1 tantric sect in Jiutian. Our ancestors have been collecting information about Jiutian for generations. From wild monsters, bosses, equipment, to hidden dungeons, missions, battle pets, techniques, and sets, we know almost everything." Lu Chun did not understand why Ling Long would say this, but he did not interrupt her. He only listened carefully. "As for the tribulation as the first qualitative change in Jiutian, our research is naturally the most. After 1,000 years of research, we summarized a whole set of theories. Under what kind of strength can summon a level 9 tribulation? And what level of physical strength must be to pass it? Other than physical strength, there is another important point, which is the Taoist heart. And our family has a cultivation method that can help those who are going through the tribulation cut off their worldly ties." Lu Chun frowned. "There's such a method? Wait, the ice heart technique you cultivated before, could it be?" Ling Long nodded. "That's right." Lu Chun frowned and said, "No wonder I feel that you are a little different from the other genuine immortals. Of course, the difference is only a little. You are a little more enthusiastic than them. It turns out that you have not really cut off your mortal bonds." "You. Why are you telling me this?" Lu Chun suddenly looked at Ling Long vigilantly. He had to be on guard against this woman. She seemed to be trying to get him to acknowledge her as his master. Ling Long smiled helplessly. "I'm telling you this because I want to tell you that there are some things that we can't decide. Even those true immortals have some mortal desires in their hearts. Look at Tianrui. When he returned to his own world, wasn't he a little different from other true immortals? Some immortals become numb in order to become stronger. Some immortals have no choice but to become numb. Not everyone has the courage to walk the path of defying the heavens." Lu Chun narrowed his eyes slightly. This woman could actually say something like that. It did not seem like her style. But then again, what Ling Long said made sense. Perhaps there were differences between immortals. This casual conversation allowed Lu Chun to see a slightly different Ling Long. In the end, Ling Long put on a stern face again. "Forget it. Your life and death has nothing to do with me. Anyway, remember our bet. Once you use the transportation talisman, it's equivalent to me saving you. You have to acknowledge me as your master." With that, Ling Long went to the side to cultivate the ice heart technique. Lu Chun widened his eyes. Good heavens, this woman changed her face too quickly. A few hours later, they followed the main group to the sky above a belt of black fog. At this time, the sky was dark. These were all cultivators who had rushed over from all over. On the ground below, there was a long and narrow area formed by the black fog. Looking down, it looked like a black river. However, due to the dense black fog, the surface of the lake could not be seen at all. Lu Chen could see that a large number of black shadows rushed out of the thick fog and quickly surged in all directions. These creatures that crawled out were pitch black all over. They were shaped like apes and their bodies were far larger than that of ordinary people. They were agile and used all four limbs. There was a huge number of them, and they continuously drilled out of the thick fog. Not far away, on the back of a red-crowned crane, Tianrui invited Lu Chen over. Lu Chen jumped on the red-crowned crane's back and found that the three true immortals were here. Nameless. This used to be called the Immortal Dust River. Although there were demons living here, they were suppressed by the cultivators and did not dare to leave the Immortal Dust River. It was barely peaceful. Later, when the earthly destiny star was sacrificed, this river changed. The river surface was filled with black fog, and these ape-like demons were released crazily. The normal black apes are not very strong. They are about 5-star cultivators. However, they have very strong shields. There are also some strong black apes whose strength may reach the Emperor level, or even Theo the Great, the Human King level. Our immortal cultivators are retreating again and again. Even though we have 10 true immortals on our side, we are still retreating. Most importantly, there is a black god living here. Its strength is unusually strong. I suspect that it may have reached the strength of a 7-star true immortal. Even with 10 true immortals working together, we were still defeated. Lu Chen nodded. Those shields should be provided by the black god. As long as we kill the black god, with the strength of your world, it should be enough to destroy them. Have you collected all the information I need? Don't worry about this. We have records of the exits of the earthly destiny star. We will not miss a single one, Tianrui said. All right, I'm going down. After saying that, Lu Chen directly jumped down from the sky. Tianrui's exclamation came from behind. Nameless, you're going down alone? What about us? It seemed that they had gathered so many people to help Lu Chen deal with those black apes. Don't come down, or you will be injured. Lu Chen hurriedly shouted. If these great cultivators came down, it would only affect the speed of the little beast and the others. He had to warn them. The wind whistled in his ears. Lu Chen did not know why, but he remembered the final result given by the sky spill stone. The path of defying the heavens could not be deduced. You don't know the answer either? Fine, the testing stone did not give me a result. I can only find the answer from the black god. A long spear appeared beside Lu Chen. Lu Chen grabbed the void god-destroying spear and shouted, God and demon symbiosis. Dragon god form. Suddenly, Lu Chen transformed into a white-haired golden-armored god of war. Like a meteor, sparks flew as he fell from the sky. Spearway star-shattering. With a boom, Lu Chen's spear directly hit the surface of the 1,000-mile Immortal Dust River. The river surface was suddenly split into two. The river water was monstrous, setting off huge waves that were dozens of meters high. It directly hit the riverbed of Lu Chen's river. Black God, come out! Chapter 1235. Lu Chen split the Immortal Dust River in half with his spear, causing the black fog to disperse. Countless black apes swarmed over when they saw someone intruding into their nest. Lu Chen summoned the 3 lesser source beasts. Lesser source, I'll leave these guys to you. Okay, Dad. Lesser source, Furball, and lesser source pounced on the black ape army. The 3 charged into the black ape army and started a massacre. It could be said that if the experts here did not come out, the 3 of them could wipe out the black ape army. Of course, there were experts among the black apes. Soon, a few huge black apes surrounded the 3 of them, preventing them from going crazy in the black ape army. At the same time, the Immortal Dust River did not fall for a long time. Suddenly, a pair of red eyes lit up on the riverbed. Sengoku? The voice suddenly sounded, but when he saw Lu Chen in the air, he dismissed the idea. Human King Realm? How is that possible? With that, the riverbed shook, and the ground on both sides of the riverbed began to collapse. Soon, a huge beast stood up from the Immortal Dust River. As soon as he stood up, Lu Chen sucked in a breath of air. This guy is 200 meters tall. It was pitch black and shaped like an ape. A mere human king dares to provoke me, Wuxiqi? The ape's eyes were filled with killing intent. You're courting death. Ling Long, who was sitting on the ice phoenix, could not help but stand up and look at the huge beast below in shock. Is that Wuxiqi, one of the 4 divine monkeys? He's extremely good at controlling water, and Nameless is good at controlling fire. It's hard to say who will win in this battle of water and fire. Immortal technique, heavenly water, bone erosion, soul disintegration. This guy didn't talk nonsense and directly attacked. With a wave of his hand, a monstrous wave smashed towards Lu Chun from all directions. Since the other party did not want to waste time talking, it was exactly what Lu Chun wanted. He growled, "Spear Dao Empyrean Spear." The god-slaying spear's body instantly emitted raging flames. Lu Chun merged with the spear and stabbed out. The spear struck the water screen together with the spear. With a boom, the water curtain in the air exploded. The water droplets splashed out and smashed into the trees. The surrounding trees were pierced through by the water droplets, and the trees were snapped one after another. After one move, all the trees within a radius of 100 miles around the immortal dust river fell down, outlining an oval area. This was the image of the force field created by the collision of the 2 spiritual energies. At this moment, it was perfectly outlined by the surrounding broken wood. Oh my god, the area of effect is too wide. This is just the 2 of them testing each other out, but the power is already so shocking. Is this a battle between immortals? As expected, it's far beyond the scope of human power. However, if it's just a tie in the first test, John Doe doesn't seem to have a chance to win. Wuxiqi is extremely powerful. His water manipulation technique is hard to guard against. At the same time, his self-healing ability is extremely strong. Last time, the 10 great immortal martial emperors were dragged to death by him. A loose immortal side. At this moment, Tian Rui and the other 2 were watching the battle seriously. The 2 of them were evenly matched just now, but Wuxiqi is better at prolonged battles. His self-healing ability is too terrifying. If he takes down the enemy in a short period of time, he won't have a chance to win. Tian Rui said. Zuoxiu said. Wuxiqi is known as the water ghost. His water manipulation technique is already at the peak. Nameless doesn't know if he has a chance to win. At this moment, Tian Rui suddenly said, "Everyone get ready. If the situation is urgent, we can help." Are we really going to fight? Zuoxiu immediately stood up and asked. Tian Rui said, "I'm afraid this is our last chance. If he loses, our mortal fate planet's hope will be even slimmer. We can't just stand by and watch. If necessary, we must help him." Zuoxiu and Qingyan nodded at the same time. Lu Chun was pushed back 100 meters. His body was full of wounds from the water droplets. He looked up at his opponent in shock. Although Wuxiqi was also pushed back 100 meters, he didn't have any injuries because he didn't want to let Lu Chun get close to him. Although the spiritual power of Empyrean Spear and bone-eroding soul-dissolving spear cancelled each other out, they were in completely different states. Besides, the water cultivation technique was long-lasting, while the fire cultivation technique was explosive. The collision between the 2 resulted in a tie. Obviously, he was at a disadvantage. This guy is stronger than I thought. Lu Chun narrowed his eyes. Lu Chun turned to look at the little beast, and found that they were in a life-and-death battle. The shields of these black apes were much stronger than those of the 2 worlds they had swept through before. Moreover, they were very agile and more intelligent than the black demons and black demons. Seeing the powerful strength of Xiao Yuan and the other 2, they soon adopted a roundabout strategy instead of coming to their deaths in groups. Only a few powerful black apes were restraining the little beast, and the other 2. As more and more members of the Black Absolute Army arrived, the pressure on the 3 beasts increased. The Black Absolute Army is indeed much stronger than the Black Demon Army and the Black Evil Army. Lu Chun took a deep breath. He couldn't be distracted to help the little beast and the other 2. At this moment, the sound of a bugle horn came from the horizon. The sound of the bugle horn reverberated through the whole area. The people in the sky looked at the person holding the bugle horn. It was a rogue immortal. After blowing the horn, he said in a loud voice, Cultivators of the mortal fate star, listen to my command. 30 years ago, the mortal fate star was sacrificed to the Jiutian. In the same year, the Black Absolute God arrived and killed the 7 emperors and slaughtered all living beings. 30 years ago, we worked hard, but we were no match for the Black Absolute army. The mortal fate star is in danger. Today, a powerful figure has come to the world to help us kill demons. This is a God-given opportunity. If we stand by and do nothing, we will regret it when the world is destroyed. All cultivators, listen to my command. Although I am weak, I don't want to resign myself to fate. Everyone, help the young man and the 2 beasts to resist the Black Absolute army. As soon as he finished speaking, dazzling sword shadows fell from the sky like a meteor shower. At this moment, the sky was dyed with 7 colors. The army of cultivators descended from the sky and rushed toward the Black Absolute army to join the battle with the little beast, and the other 2. Seeing this, Lu Chen's heart skipped a beat. He asked them not to come down, but they still came down. Although most of them had low cultivation, when it came to the survival of the planet, there was no more deception or cowardice. There was only one thought in everyone's mind. Even if they had to die, they had to protect their home. Along the way, Hong 5 Planet, Technology Planet, and Mortal Fate Star, no matter how weak or strong they were, no matter how difficult the situation was, there was one thing that was the same. None of them had completely given up their last belief. The belief to live, the belief to protect their family, the belief to protect their home. Although I am weak, I don't want to resign myself to fate. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly realized that he did not only obtain beast cores in the myriad world maze. There is one more thing. Although I am weak, I don't want to resign myself to fate. Lu Chen shouted in a low voice, then stared at Wu Zhiqi. I will help you. Chapter 1236. If you know you're weak, then accept your fate. Wu Zhiqi roared. The weak don't deserve to exist in this world. Kid, no matter who you are, if you dare to stop me from destroying this world, you will die. Immortal technique, heavenly water, water ghost possession. Wu Zhiqi roared. Suddenly, a black ghost hand appeared in the air in front of Lu Chen and grabbed at Lu Chen's eyes. Lu Chen quickly dodged and turned around to stab the ghost hand with Shatterstar. However, the ghost hand only turned into water droplets. However, before Lu Chen could catch his breath, a large number of ghost hands appeared around him again. Lu Chen quickly opened up the distance between him and the triple door. However, no matter where he ran, ghost hands would appear around him and try to stop Lu Chen. Damn it, what kind of skill is this? Lu Chen's eyes widened. He had encountered skills that could catch up to him while he was moving. However, this water ghost possession did not rely on speed at all. As long as he stopped for a moment, ghost hands would immediately appear around him. Although these ghost hands were not impossible to dodge, Lu Chen was still annoyed. Kid, you must feel bad. Wu Zhiqi sneered. This is just the beginning. Since you're not an immortal, then you're immortal. Since you're immortal, how can you fight me? Wu Zhiqi grinned. The show is just beginning. This skill, as long as you're immortal, no matter how strong you are, you will definitely die. Immortal secret technique, water essence, extraction. Lu Chen did not have time to attack, but Wu Zhiqi had plenty of time. After water ghost possession, Wu Zhiqi attacked again. Secret technique. In the past, Lu Chen had heard that secret techniques were the strongest techniques of the same level. And this time, what Wu Zhiqi used was a secret technique of the immortal technique. Lu Chen had not sensed Wu Zhiqi's attack, when he suddenly felt intense pain all over his body. He could only watch helplessly as his right arm shriveled up. Lu Chen's mind went blank for a fraction of a second. Why had his arm shriveled up? That guy was several hundred meters away from him. Yet he was able to inflict such terrible damage to his body, and he was unable to block it at all. How could this be? Lu Chen quickly thought of a possibility. That guy had directly sucked all the water out of his body. Lu Chen had seen people controlling water before, but Lu Chen had never heard of anyone controlling water to such an extent. Lu Chen's body was quickly becoming wretched. Even the dragon god form could not protect him. The only thing that was not affected was his left arm. If this continued, Lu Chen was afraid that he would directly become a dry corpse. Everything had spiritual energy. All cultivation techniques relied on spiritual energy to activate. Lu Chen quickly calmed himself down. Divine Demon Heavenly Eyes. Through spiritual observation, Lu Chen could see traces of spiritual energy being extracted from his body, fusing with the surrounding air. The so-called extraction was to use the surrounding water vapor as a medium to activate the spiritual energy, extracting the water out of his body. Lu Chen could not transmit spiritual energy through water vapor. After all, he had never learned how to control water, so his affinity with the water element should be zero. But Lu Chen had the fire element. Thinking of this, Lu Chen quickly ignited the void god-destroying spear and shouted, "Insignificant skill, how dare you call it an immortal technique? Spearway, Earth Fire Thousand Army Destruction." Lu Chen crazily attacked the surrounding ghost hands. Under the extremely high temperature, the surrounding water vapor directly evaporated. Without water vapor, Wu Zhiqi had no remote medium, and could not conduct the extracted spiritual energy. Finally, Lu Chen stopped the loss of water from his body, but his right arm was still in a shriveled state. If he did not quickly end the battle, his right arm would probably be crippled. Emptiness of God's and Demon's arm. Lu Chen shouted, and his left arm quickly demonized. Void attack, immortal technique, rapid shadow spear. After saying this, Lu Chen merged with the spear, and together they turned into a ray of black light, shooting towards Wu Zhiqi. With 5 more spears, the rapid shadow spear's speed was so fast that it could not be seen. In a flash, it was in front of Wu Zhiqi. Immortal technique, Water Moon Mirror Flower. Wu Zhiqi's arms drew a circular pattern in front of him, and then a circular water shield was formed in front of him. Within the water shield, water flowed rapidly, and the range of the water shield became larger and larger. Lu Chen did not care about this, and directly stabbed with his spear. However, although this spear broke the water shield, the strange thing was Lu Chen actually missed. His whole body directly passed by Wu Zhiqi, and crashed into the mountain range in the distance. With a loud rumble, the mountain that the locals called the Immortal Dust Mountain directly disintegrated. Not long after, Lu Chen returned, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Over the years, Lu Chen had experienced countless battles. He was still confident in his own moves. Under normal circumstances, it was impossible for him to miss his target. However, he was sure that he could hit Wu Zhiqi, but the result was so much off. The rapid shadow spear was strong, but if he missed, how could he unleash its full power? Haha, what? I'm standing here and stabbing at you, and you're able to stab me sideways? Wu Zhiqi laughed loudly. Lu Chen was speechless, which was a rare occurrence. Such a big target, and his opponent did not even move, but he missed. He could not figure it out himself. It must be the Water Moon Mirror Flower. At that time, the Water Moon Mirror Flower was completely between me and Wu Zhiqi. I judged Wu Zhiqi's position through the water shield, and that's why I missed? Wait, that's not right. I clearly felt the position of his spiritual energy. My spiritual energy is at the level of detail, and I can't be wrong. Lu Chen also had the heavenly demon eyes, so the chances of him seeing wrong were almost zero. Before he figured this out, Lu Chen did not dare to use the Heaven's Fury Spear recklessly. Once he used it, if he could not kill Wu Zhiqi, he would not be able to win even if he did not lose. Mortals are mortals, and with my strength, even true immortals can't do anything to me. What do you have to fight me? Wu Zhiqi roared. Next, I will show you the difference between you and me. Today, the people of this world have come to seek death, saving me the effort of killing them one by one. All of you go to hell. Ha 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 ha. Fight the heavens? What right do you have? Immortal technique, heavenly water, heavenly Milky Way. The sky suddenly began to darken. Some people raised their heads and looked up. They couldn't help but open their mouths in shock and horror. At this moment, in the sky, floating. That person did not know how to describe it, but it could be said that it was a floating ocean. Endless heavenly water covered the entire sky, stretching for thousands of miles. How many cubic meters of water were there? And where the water came from, no one could say for sure. But this was not the main point. The main point was that this should be Wu Ziqi's killer move, Heavenly Milky Way. Fall for me. Wu Ziqi roared. Endless heavenly water came crashing down from the sky. Lu Chen was stunned. Was this the strength of a true immortal? Wasn't this too exaggerated? At this moment, Lu Chen heard a voice anxiously shouting at him. Idiot, this is heavenly water. You have already experienced it. You will be injured if you touch it. Not to mention such a terrifying pressure. There is no way to avoid it. Run. Use the teleportation talisman I gave you. Lu Chen turned around and saw Ling Long baring her fangs and claws at him, not caring about her image as a true immortal. Don't think that I will recognize you as my master. Chapter 1237. If I leave, what will happen to them? You are just irrelevant people. They will all be destroyed in the end. You can't save everyone. Ling Long shouted. Take your battle pet and leave. Every time I see these people, I can't help but think of my world. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and looked at the sky, water pouring down from the sky. If it wasn't for me, Lu Yi and Zhu Yi would be waiting for their deaths. If it wasn't for me, the billions of people on Earth would all be sacrificed in this game. Please don't care about them. How are you going to block this skill? The sky water of the firmament galaxy is gathered from the water sources of several planets. When it falls from the Jiutian, it can even penetrate the planet. You can't block it. Ling Long didn't know why she was so agitated and why she had to drag Lu Chen away. You can't save everyone, but since I saw it, I can't just leave. Lu Chen said coldly. Ling Long, go. After that, Lu Chen stopped listening to Ling Long's shouts. All around them were the wails of the cultivators. It's over, it's really over. When the 10 great martial emperors fought with Wu Ziqi didn't even use such a terrifying skill. This time we are all gathered here. He took the opportunity to attack us. Those above the master cultivator level are all here. Once we die, the mortal destiny planet will not be able to hold on. No one had any hope anymore. Because in front of this skill, Wu Ziqi really showed his strength that made people powerless to resist. But except for one person. Lu Chen clenched the black spear in his hand. Sky Thief, I don't know if I can block this skill. Are you willing to fight with me? Blade Mountain Flame Sea. Sky Thief swears to follow you to death. Lu Chen nodded and suddenly activated his skill. Celestial Body. Void Attack, Void God Slaying Spear, Earthly Fire Heaven's Fury Spear. With a boom, a fire pillar with a diameter of 1,000 meters shot into the sky, breaking through the clouds and the water layer. Lu Chen was like a white-haired, golden-armored war god bathed in flames, standing upright with his spear in hand. Then Lu Chen roared furiously, as if he was speaking to Lu Chen, to Wu Ziqi, to the heavens, and to all those who were still resisting. Lu Chen said furiously, remember this. My life is in my own hands, not in the hands of the heavens. If you don't want to resign yourself to fate, then go against it. His body shook the heavens and the earth, and more importantly, it shook the hearts of everyone. Everyone's eyes were focused on the man in the fire. Suddenly Lu Chen charged into the sky. In an instant, heaven and earth's spiritual energy shook. One man, one spear, a tiny black shadow, against the sky that was pouring down from the sky, defying the heavens. In the distance, the corners of Tianrui's eyes twitched, and his body and mind trembled. He suddenly remembered that Nameless had said that he was not an immortal. Now he completely believed it. The path of defying the heavens cannot be deduced. Nameless is a human, not an immortal. His mortal body can resist the might of the heavens. In the sky, the heaven's fury spear collided with the Milky Way. A ring of fire instantly exploded in the sky, sweeping across thousands of miles. Then heaven and earth shook, as if the heavens and earth were about to collapse. The mountains crumbled, rocks rolled, and the wind howled. Whether it was a human, a black ape, or even an immortal, they were all swept away. The ground cracked, and the immortal dust river surged violently, almost rippling out of the riverbed. Oh my God, is the sky collapsing? Did he block the Milky Way? I can't believe he's only a human emperor. Only? Human emperor is already very high, okay? No, that's for you and me. But for Nameless, he can't be a human emperor. Ling Long did not leave. Her bright eyes were already wide open as she looked at the sky in shock. The spiritual energy confrontation between the two sides was still going on. The endless heavenly water crazily pressed against the little black dot, but Nameless did not give an inch. One man and one spear, resisting the Milky Way. There was no need to think about how much spiritual energy the body would have to endure if it was Nameless' position at this time. From afar, one could see that the guy's eyes were about to pop out. He was already at his limit, resisting the Milky Way. Suddenly, Nameless spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. The dragon scales on his body flipped crazily, and even the scales fell off directly. Even his body was pressed down by more than 10 meters. The dragon scales in the dragon god state were a part of Lu Chen's body. If they could fall off like this, it was equivalent to a broken arm or a broken limb. Lu Chen was already seriously injured. However, he quickly reorganized his state and firmly held the line of defense, not letting the Milky Way take another step forward. Unconsciously, Ling Long found that the corners of her eyes were a little wet. She gently wiped them with her hand and found that they were her tears. Tears? That was impossible. She was already a 9 tribulation true immortal. Even if her Taoist heart was sometimes moved, she would never cry. Nameless, they had only met twice, and they were just traveling together in a hurry. Why would she cry? Why would a true immortal cry for a mortal? Ling Long's mind was in a mess. She couldn't wait to practice the ice heart technique now. However, this was a critical moment in the battle, and she didn't have time to deal with these things. Nameless, can you win? At this moment, Lu Chen shouted angrily, "War Soul, help me!" Lu Chen couldn't hold on anymore. This was the first time that Lu Chen had summoned a War Soul to help him at the 7th heaven. It was obvious that he had reached his limit at this time. A person who looked exactly like Lu Chen quickly appeared beside him. After activating the War Soul, he used the heaven-breaking sword technique to fight against the Milky Way with Lu Chen. But even so, no matter how much blood was flowing out of Lu Chen's mouth, he couldn't stop it. He was still suppressed bit by bit. Seeing this scene, a person on the ground shouted angrily, "Damn it! How dare you hurt my dad? Damn monkey, wait for me, I'll teach you a lesson later." "Dad, I'm coming." Little Beast was furious, but the most important thing was to save its dad. Featherball and Originator also flew up into the sky, heading toward the firmament and the Milky Way. Tianrui said in a trembling voice, "How can the mortal fate planet deserve your help?" "Nameless, I'll do it." "Me too." Zhuoxiu and Chungyun followed closely behind and rushed over. "Sir, you have a heart for the common people. I, Nank, don't respect immortals and Buddhas. I only respect you. Nank is willing to do my best. Ling Yun, a mere earth cultivator, is willing to help Sir Nameless. So what if the Milky Way falls on the Jiutian? It can't extinguish the passion of men like us. Let's do it too." For a moment, countless figures, regardless of their cultivation, rushed to the sky as if it was the opposite of the millions of cultivators who fell to the ground at that time. Together, they ruled the Milky Way and heavenly water. Although Lu Chen didn't mention the power of gods and demons, there were more than 1 million cultivators here, including 3 true immortals and more than 20 itinerant immortals. In this way, it was equivalent to an increase of tens of millions of attributes. With the help of these people, the endless Milky Way and heavenly water evaporated layer by layer under the burning of Lu Chen's earth fire, until there was nothing left. Although the Milky Way had blocked the attack, many people fell from the sky. However, Lu Chen didn't notice that a pale yellow figure raised his hand and condensed thin layers of ice to help the injured people from falling, and prevent them from getting hurt again. The 3 true immortals and 27 itinerant immortals were also seriously injured and gasping for breath. Lu Chen himself had lost most of his dragon scales, and his mouth was full of blood. He looked like a lamp that was about to run out of oil. Waziki squinted his eyes and said, "You blocked the Milky Way? I really didn't expect it. Kid, what's your name?" Lu Chen raised his head slightly and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He said coldly, "Remember, my name is Nameless." Suddenly Lu Chen dashed out. He became one with his spear and shot straight at Wu Zhiqi. Void attack, void god-destroying spear, rapid shadow spear. In an instant Lu Chen had shot 5 more times. Chapter 1238. Wuxiqi sneered. Again? Are you still struggling on your deathbed? Why are there only 5 shots left? Looks like you can't continue anymore. Too bad. Your last stand is just a joke to me. You can't break my water moon mirror flower. Your rapid shadow spear is useless against me. Lu Chen ignored him and dashed towards the giant water screen. The moment Lu Chen broke through the water screen, Lu Chen roared, "Great Ravager Sweep!" Back then, Lu Chen had extracted some low-level skills, including the Great Ravager Sweep. However, the skills level was very low, and the spear chi moved very slowly. For his current opponent, dodging it was easy. Who do you think I am? Using such a trashy skill? Wuxiqi snorted. Just as he dodged the spear chi, he was shocked. Not good. The Great Ravager Sweep's level was indeed too low, but its consumption was also very low. Lu Chen could use it at the same time as the Rapid Shadow Spear. Most importantly, it was an area of effect attack. Even if there was a deviation, as it was an area of effect attack, there was a high chance that it would hit Wuxiqi's real body. And Wuxiqi had moved his real body to dodge the attack. I want you to dodge. Lu Chen quickly located Wuxiqi's position. With a roar, he chased after Wuxiqi with the Rapid Shadow Spear's 6th shot. With a loud bang, a wave of spiritual energy exploded from 100 meters in the air. This time, Lu Chen's Rapid Shadow Spear hit Wuxiqi squarely. The 6th shot of the Rapid Shadow Spear was extremely fast and powerful. The 4th shot of the Rapid Shadow Spear was something that even the Reverse Soul Roaming Dragon could not block. Even Wuxiqi would not be able to face such a terrifying attack head-on. A burst of spiritual energy exploded from Wuxiqi's body. Lu Chen directly pierced through Wuxiqi's chest with his spear. This. Wuxiqi looked at the big hole in his chest. A large amount of lava was spreading in his organs and devouring his flesh. Behind him, Lu Chen's body swayed. He spat out mouthfuls of blood. Using the god-slaying spear to support himself, he slowly turned around and looked at Wuxiqi coldly. Wuxiqi had not fallen yet. He could not fall first. The lava swallowed Wuxiqi's body. It turned around and looked at Lu Chen. Heaven wants Earth Destiny Star to die. I am following Heaven's will. But you dare to go against Heaven's will. Nameless, you will be punished by the heavens. Lu Chen snorted coldly. If they want to be punished by the heavens, then please come earlier. At this moment, the little beast pierced through Wuxiqi's head and took out a blue beast core. With the beast core taken away, Wuxiqi's huge body finally fell to the ground. Just as the little beast was about to pass the beast core to its father, Lu Chen's body went limp and he fell to the ground. Dad! Little beastie supported Lu Chen. When Lu Chen opened his eyes again, he found himself lying on the cold ground. There was a talisman formation drawn on the ground. Tianrui, Zuoxiu, Qingyan, the little beast Hairy Ball, Xiaoyuan, and a group of rogue immortals sat cross-legged on the formation core. They were injecting spiritual power into the formation, which flowed into Lu Chen's body continuously. What surprised Lu Chen was that he saw Ling Long among them. She was at the largest formation core, so the spiritual power she was injecting probably took up half of the formation's power. After a while, everyone finished injecting their spiritual power. Seeing that Lu Chen was awake, they hurried to Lu Chen's side. Mr. Nameless, are you feeling better? Before this, your spiritual power was empty and you were heavily injured. We don't have any immortal pills to heal you, so we could only use the spiritual conversion formation to help you recover, Tianrui said. Lu Chen sat up. I feel much better. Thank you. A smile finally appeared on everyone's face. Mr. Nameless, you're being too polite. We can't repay you for what you've done for Mortal Destiny Planet, Zuoxiu said emotionally. Lu Chen smiled. We're just taking what we need. You don't have to mind it so much. Besides, if it weren't for your help, I wouldn't have been able to stop the Firmament Galaxy. Oh, right, about the exit, Tianrui hurriedly said. When you were unconscious for a month, I mobilized all the cultivators to recalculate the teleportation exits. Immortal Master Ling Long has checked all of them. Lu Chen looked at Ling Long in surprise. You've checked all of them? Ling Long also looked a little weak, but she still glared at Lu Chen when she saw him. Of course. You said you were in a hurry, but you rested for a month. I had no choice but to go and check the exit first. Tianrui smiled. Actually, the spiritual conversion formation was set up by immortal master Ling Long. She spent a lot of spiritual power these days to check the exit. It was really tiring. Lu Chen looked up and down at Ling Long. Back then, when many cultivators fell from the sky, she was also the one who saved them. This woman has been replaced? If you keep looking, I'll gouge your eyes out. Ling Long said fiercely. Lu Chen smiled. Fortunately, she hasn't been replaced. Oh right, how are the black apes now? Lu Chen asked. Cheng Yun said. Without the protection of the Black God's spiritual shield, we have the ability to resist the Black Apes' invasion. It's just that when we were fighting against the Firmament Galaxy, many of us suffered different degrees of injuries. We might need some time to recover before we launch an all-out attack. Lu Chen nodded. The Black Ape army didn't have spiritual shields, so they should be able to defeat them. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chen got up. If that's the case, then everyone, let's part ways here. Mr. Nameless, your injuries haven't healed. Are you leaving now? Tianyu and the others asked anxiously. Lu Chen nodded. I don't have much time left. I have the last coordinates of our world. If I can't return to the seventh heaven before the end of the protection period, my planet might. When these people heard this, their hearts tightened. The last coordinates. Mr. Nameless, forgive me for being presumptuous, but how many coordinates does your planet have? 20. The previous 19 have been taken by others. Lu Chen said truthfully. Anyway, to Lu Chen, Tianrui and the others were not his enemies. After all, they didn't belong to the seventh heaven's main world, and had no right to fight for the coordinates. 20. Then Mr. Nameless world is a technological world? Lu Chen nodded. The technological world has almost no resistance against the invasion. Zhuoxiu frowned. As a member of a world that had already been invaded, they were all too aware of the future fate of the Nameless world. At the same time, they also knew how heavy the burden on the shoulders of the Nameless world was. How long is the protection period? Tianrui asked. About 20 months. We fell into the myriad world labyrinth. I don't know if we can make it back in time. Lu Chen sighed. This matter had always been a huge rock in his heart. Tianrui frowned. Mr. Nameless, I saw your war soul use the sky-piercing sword move before. Its power is also very shocking, but you've never used it before. I don't know if it's your tactic or... Oh, I've been in closed-door cultivation since I arrived at the seventh heaven. I don't have a channel to obtain spirit tablets, so I haven't withdrawn some cultivation methods and equipment. Spirit tablets? Tianrui, Wuxia, and Chengyun looked at each other as if they had reached some kind of tacit understanding. The three of them took out their spirit tablets and gathered them in front of Tianrui. Tianrui handed the spirit tablets to Lu Chen. Mr. Nameless, here are 1,500 spirit tablets. The three of us don't need these anymore, so I'll give them to you. Chapter 1239. Who would have thought that our planet would become a part of the myriad world maze? Tianrui sighed, then looked at Lu Chen. The three of us can't enter the seventh layer of heaven anymore, and we've already extracted what we needed, so we don't need any more pills. Please don't mind. Lu Chen blinked. Mind? How could he mind? He didn't stand on ceremony and directly took the spirit tablet. Many thanks. Mr. Nameless, since you're in a hurry, we won't keep you any longer. But if you have the chance to come again, we'll be your hosts. Oh, Qingyan, what are you saying? Do you want Mr. Nameless and Miss Ling Long to enter the myriad world maze again? Qingyan smiled awkwardly. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. It's just that after becoming an immortal, I haven't had the feeling of saying goodbye to friends for a long time. Lu Chen smiled. Not being an immortal wasn't a bad thing. At least these three were much cuter than the true immortals in the seventh layer of heaven. Lu Chen hadn't fully recovered, but he had to leave the myriad world star now. Sitting on the ice phoenix, Ling Long told Lu Chen about the exits she investigated. There's a total of 7 exits, and I'm leaning towards the Crescent Moon Valley's exit. Only this one has a stronger fluctuation of spiritual energy. I think it's the Shunwu world. Lu Chen's eyes were full of doubt. Are you sure? Didn't we choose the technological world last time? We can't be so unlucky all the time. Trust me, if it's not the Shunwu world, it's the Super Wu world. Lu Chen thought about it. No matter which exit they chose, the final result would be unknown. So he might as well listen to Ling Long. Okay, you're a top student. I'll listen to you. Let's go. Wait. Ling Long suddenly said. You should recover first before going. Why? If it's the Shunwu world, then we'll have to be careful. A starving camel is still bigger than a horse. We're not in good condition, so we'll go after we recover. Ling Long took out a pill and gave it to Lu Chen. This is a myriad spirit pill. It can quickly replenish spiritual energy. Lu Chen took the pill and scrutinized Ling Long. Hey, why do I feel like you're different from before? You saved those cultivators before? Don't tell me you still want me to recognize you as my master. Ling Long glared at Lu Chen and said angrily. No, you're mistaken. If you don't want to eat the pill, then give it back to me. Lu Chen hurriedly stuffed the pill into his mouth. Who said I'm not eating? After swallowing the pill, Ling Long glared at Lu Chen. Hurry up and absorb the pill. The effect of this pill is too strong. I didn't even dare to give it to you when you were unconscious. Lu Chen also felt that his lower abdomen was getting hotter and hotter, so he hurriedly sat down cross-legged to cultivate. An hour later, the two of them had more or less recovered and entered the Crescent Moon Valley's exit at the same time. As soon as Lu Chen opened his eyes, he saw a ferocious humanoid monster, panting in human clothing, making a low and hoarse cry, opening its rotten mouth to bite him. Damn. Zombie. Lu Chen widened his eyes and kicked it away. On the other side, Ling Long killed a large number of zombies with a sword aura. The two of them finally had a chance to catch their breath. This world was another technological world. Lu Chen turned his head and shook his head at Ling Long. Didn't you say that this world was either divine martial arts or super martial arts? My goodness, it's another technological world, and there are zombies. Ling Long's face turned green and white. I didn't know that following you would be so unlucky. This thing is so disgusting. Lu Chen shook his head. Did you locate the teleportation talisman? I think we'd better go back to Earth's Destiny Star and change the exit. That I didn't record. The other 6 exits of Earth's Destiny Star didn't have any reaction. I thought the worst of this exit should be a high martial arts world. Who knew? Lu Chen was shocked. Big sister, why are you so confident? If the myriad world maze could be found just by the fluctuation of spiritual power at the exit, wouldn't it be easy? You're the big sister. I'm the divine master. Why are you throwing a tantrum at me? The technological world is not dangerous for us. Isn't it easy to find an exit? It's such a big place. How are we going to find an exit if we don't ask the locals? There have to be living people. Ling Long said softly. Lu Chen shook his head. Damn it, alright, next time a top student like you should listen to me. I'm the divine master. Why should I listen to a mortal? Did you forget that when we made the bet, as long as I kill the black god, you have to listen to me? Didn't you forget? Lu Chen said snappily. Previously, when I saw you saving people, setting up a formation, and giving me pills, I originally wanted to forget about it. Who knew that you were so stupid? Alright, I don't need you to listen to me all the time. Just follow me in the myriad world maze. Don't save the teleportation talisman for a critical moment. Even if there's a mark in Shenwu world, we can't be sure which exit it is. Of course, we have to save it for that moment. Just follow me. Why are you so fierce? If you're fierce to me again, I'll... Lu Chen shook his head. Perhaps this was the scariest part of the myriad world maze. You can never be sure what the next world is. The myriad world maze. This was a maze that could trap immortals. Thinking about how he was a little agitated just now, Lu Chen sighed. I wasn't fierce to you. Let's find the exit of this world first. I don't have much time left. Ling Long was still angry, but after hearing Lu Chen's words, she calmed down a little. Time is running out. This was the most Nameless had said in this period of time. He must be very anxious. Abandoned streets, broken cars, wandering zombies. This place was very much like the zombie world in sci-fi movies. These zombies were much faster and stronger than normal people, but they could not be compared to Lu Chen and Ling Long. They were not a threat to Lu Chen and Ling Long. In front of a shop, Lu Chen found a few discarded newspapers. The black tide is coming. The human genetic modification project has been forced to start ahead of schedule. Only genetic modification can resist the black tide. Rumor has it that the genetic modification agent caused the user's personality to change greatly, causing unknown changes to the body. Professor Su, answering the reporter's questions about the genetic modification agent. The military developed a weapon of mass destruction. It has been proven unable to destroy the plasma shield of the black tide creatures. Currently, the military has not promised not to use nuclear weapons. Lu Chen frowned. Seems like these zombies might be caused by the genetic modification agent. I didn't expect that the black tide would not destroy White Wave Star. But the genetic modification agent would cause the extinction of humanity first. Lu Chen sighed. For this low martial world, perhaps this was the only path they could choose at that time. Chapter 1240. The situation in this world was worse than the previous technological world. Not only did they have to face the invasion of the black tide, but there were also problems with the genetic medicine that they were researching. It was hard to determine if there were still people alive in White Cloud Star. Even if there were, they must be hiding deeper than the survivors of the previous world. Not to mention the black tide, these zombies were far more powerful than ordinary people in terms of physical strength. They could pose a great threat to them. How are you going to get out? We can't even see a living person now. Ling Long asked. Lu Chen thought for a while and said, the people in this world don't dare to run around, but the so-called black tide might be able to find the exit easily. Let's find the place where the black tide gather. It's better than looking around aimlessly. Ling Long nodded. The black tide should be creatures similar to the black demons. The black demons surrounded the abandoned mine. It was obvious that they were not sure where the exit was. They would only guard nearby because they felt threatened. After deciding on the strategy, Lu Chen summoned Tinwing and flew into the sky. There were few traces of the black tide in the city. However, they could see some black creatures outside the city. They feed on zombies. Ling Long felt disgusted. Lu Chen followed the scattered black tide figures and tracked them to a nest. He ordered Little Critter to clean up the nest and let Rhubarb search for it. Unfortunately, there were no results. At night, the two of them set up a bonfire in the forest. There were black tide in the forest, but there were no disgusting zombies. Therefore, they would rather camp in the wild. Lu Chen sat at the side and took out the spiritual tablets. He still had 1,700 spiritual tablets. He was thinking about extracting a divine demon equipment and some other skills. I can use the Heart Sutras now, Omniscient Eye, Great Void Arm, 7 transformations of Divine Demon, and 8th transformation of Divine Demon, Divine Demon Heaven's Might, Divine Demon Limitless Sword, and Divine Demon Lotus Heart. After thinking about it, Lu Chen extracted the Divine Demon Lotus Heart first. After extracting the Lotus Heart, he could use the Inner Demon and Sacred Lotus Sword Heart. After putting in 1,000 spiritual tablets, Lu Chen successfully extracted the Divine Demon Lotus Heart. Limitless Sword, just bear with it for now. Next time, when I gather 1,000, I will definitely mention you first. Lu Chen muttered. The 8 transformations of gods and devils required another 200 spirit tablets, which made Lu Chen's heart ache. The entire set only costs 1,000, and the 8th transformation costs 100. It's too dark. Lu Chen cursed. However, it was unknown if he could find the 9th transformation of the God Fiend. Helpless, he could only spend an extra 100 spirit tablets to extract the 8th transformation. There are still 600 left. Let's see if I can bring up raging flames burning the heavens, and 1 sword piercing the heavens. Comparatively speaking, the sky-breaking sword should be cheaper. Lu Chen picked the sky-breaking sword first and directly asked for 300 spiritual tablets. After a bout of heartache, Lu Chen began to extract raging flames incinerate the heavens. He had invested all 312 spirit tablets, but it still hadn't come out. Fuck, what a huge loss. I haven't mentioned it yet. Lu Chen shook his head. Since he could not bring it up, Lu Chen had no choice but to put the matter aside. What are the changes in the 8 transformations of gods and devils? Now that Lu Chen's personal interface was gone and the cultivation technique description had been transferred to the scroll, Lu Chen used the firelight to check the effects of the 8th transformation of gods and devils. 8th transformation of gods and devils. Appearance changed and effects increased by 100%. The first effect shocked Lu Chen. Just by cultivating one more level, his symbiosis of gods and demons strength had doubled again. Divine Devil Astral Form upgraded to Level 2 Astral Form. Effects increased by 100%. Duration extended to 60 seconds. Can be used twice at most. Can only be used once every 5 minutes. After that, can only be used once every 10 days. Level 2 Divine Devil Astral Form can lock on all celestial bodies below Level 4. Level 1 Divine Devil Astral Form increased movement speed, senses, attack speed, and skill release speed by 400%. It could not be locked on, but could lock on all celestial bodies below Level 2. Duration: 8 seconds. Cooldown 15 days. However, the Level 2 Divine Devil Astral Form's effects were doubled. In other words, the increase was 10 times. At the same time, the duration was increased to 1 minute. It was even a reserved skill. On top of that, the Level 2 Divine Devil Astral Form could lock on all celestial bodies below Level 4. What a blatant sense of superiority! Lu Chen said excitedly. After obtaining the Rank 2 Divine Demon Star Constitution, the number of attacks of Saint Lotus Sword Heart, Calamity of Divine Grace, and Purgatory of 10,000 demons have been increased by 3 times. The number of times they can be used has also been increased to 3 times. The Divine Devil Astral Form was strengthened in all aspects. Unfortunately, Lu Chen only had the Holy Lotus Sword Heart strengthened. Divine Calamity and 10,000 Demons Purgatory should be on the other 2 pieces of the Divine Devil Fate Defying set. As long as it's not on Skyless, Lu Chen mumbled. Activating the second tier of the Divine Devil Fate Defying set's ultimate skill, Formless Sky. Formless Sky requires all 9 pieces of the Divine Devil Fate Defying set to be gathered. This was the last effect. As soon as Lu Chen saw this message, he immediately fell silent. The skills of the Divine Devil Fate Defying set were all powerful. However, the other skills were attached to a piece of equipment. Only Formless Sky could be activated when all the pieces of the set were gathered. One could only imagine how powerful this skill was. There was a second tier to this skill. What kind of power would that be? Lu Chen was also envious. However, the biggest problem now was not that he had not found the 9th transformation or the 8th piece of the Divine Devil Fate Defying set, but that everyone who knew about the Divine Devil Fate Defying set told him something. The Divine Devil Fate Defying set could not be gathered because Skyless Celestial and Demon did not exist. If it doesn't exist, then why is there a set of ultimate skills? Lu Chen frowned. At this moment, Ling Long walked to Lu Chen's side and sat down quietly. More than 1,000 spiritual tablets. You must have obtained quite a number of skills and equipment, right? No, only 2. Lu Chen shook his head. Ling Long nodded. Alright. Your Divine Devil Fate Defying set would require a terrifying amount of money. If you are willing to be my follower, I can give you 2,000 spiritual tablets. Lu Chen looked at this top student. In front of the bonfire, Ling Long was not as cold as she was during the day. It was as if a beautiful girl was sitting beside him. I won't acknowledge you as my master, Lu Chen said calmly. Ling Long smiled. I know, but I have to work hard. Who knows, you might change your mind one day. Ling Long, your family knows so many things. Then, Lu Chen suddenly looked at Ling Long. Do you know about Skyless Celestial and Demon? I know. It's a piece of equipment that doesn't exist. It's the ultimate problem of the Divine Devil Fate Defying set. Since ancient times, no one has obtained it. No, let alone obtained it. No one has even seen it. When Lu Chen heard this, he could not help but sigh. Ling Long had already said the answer, but it was still the same. Skyless Celestial and Demon did not exist. Fortunately, this was not the first time Lu Chen had heard of it. He was already immune to it, so he changed the topic. Hey, you have been in the seventh heaven for so long and often went to find followers. Have you seen a puppet master? It turns out that the boss of the fifth heaven forced himself to come to the seventh heaven in order to avoid me. Why are you looking for him? Speaking of the puppet master, Lu Chen felt like a fishbone was stuck in his throat. He said fiercely, "To kill him, of course." "No way. Then, your wish might be a little difficult." Ling Long frowned. She did not seem to be deliberately angering Lu Chen. Chapter 1241. You must be talking about Qianji. When he entered the seventh heaven as an itinerant celestial, he caused quite a commotion. With his strength, he should not be an itinerant celestial. Ling Long said. He is from the mystic spirit race and was recruited by the mystic spirit race's celestial prime. Why do you have a conflict with him? He almost killed me, Lu Chen said fiercely. Nameless, mystic spirit race's puppet masters are not to be trifled with. Even though he is an itinerant celestial, a puppet master's strength lies in his puppets. This is more important than a beast tamer or spirit controller. Beast tamers and spirit tamers control living creatures. You are too weak to control them. However, puppets are inanimate objects. As long as you have the ability to obtain a high-level puppet, you can use it no matter what level it was before. I heard that the Hongyu Celestial Prime gave him a Sengoku-level puppet to recruit him. It caused quite a commotion. Moreover, if you want to harm Qianji, the Hongyu Celestial Prime will definitely do something about it. Her 3 Sengoku-level gods of war are not to be trifled with. Lu Chen frowned. No wonder that kid was in such a hurry to come to the seventh heaven. He did not mind being an itinerant celestial, so he still had a backup plan. Not only that, he even went to the Hongyu Celestial Prime. Qianji was good at scheming. Even when he was running for his life, he still planned every step of the way. This guy. He came to find someone to back him up. Lu Chen said fiercely. No matter who he found, I will take his life sooner or later. Lu Chen said coldly. Hey, Nameless, can you tell me what conflict you have with him? Ling Long looked at Lu Chen curiously. You don't want to practice the ice heart technique anymore? I don't want to practice it anymore. I will be angered to death by you if I practice it too much. I will practice it after we get out. Lu Chen couldn't help but smile and shake his head. In fact, Ling Long's current appearance was much cuter than before. Alright, since we are on our way tomorrow, I will tell you about it. Occasionally, Ling Long's laughter could be heard from the forest. Lu Chen's misfortune was particularly amusing to her. This was the most harmonious chat they had ever had since they met. In the blink of an eye, another year and a half had passed. Lu Chen and Ling Long traversed through various worlds, searching for the exit to return to the seventh heaven world. They had been to various technological worlds. Some had just been invaded, some were on the verge of extinction, and some had already been abandoned. They had also been to various martial arts worlds. Low martial arts, middle martial arts, high martial arts, and even super martial arts. The situation in each world was different. Sometimes, it would take them a few days to find a new exit. Sometimes, they would travel to several worlds in a single day. However, there were very few god-level worlds in the myriad world maze. After repeated attempts, they had used up 14 blank transmission talismans. Lu Chen's All Things bloodline had risen to the 5th level. However, they still did not leave the myriad worlds maze. Countless alternate worlds formed a huge myriad world maze. Lu Chen and Ling Long even felt like they were lost in the maze. There was only 1 month left before Earth's final protection period. Lu Chen and Ling Long were transmitted from one world to a new one. At a glance, all they could see was a vast expanse of yellow sand. In the wind and sand, they could vaguely see the ruins of buildings buried in the sand. This was an extinct world. There was no life in it. Nameless. Ling Long looked worriedly at Lu Chen, who was silent. She knew how anxious Lu Chen was. Lu Chen was silent for a long time. Then he sighed. Ling Long, I'm sorry for venting my anger on you last time. Now I know that even if I use the transmission talisman, the result will be the same. Lu Chen took out a scroll. This was the last coordinate of Earth. Ling Long could clearly see Lu Chen's hand trembling. The last coordinate was in his hands. However, he had been trapped in the myriad worlds maze for 2 years. He was about to miss the final protection period. Nameless. Lu Chen took a deep breath and put away the scroll. Let's go. I won't give up until the last moment. After saying that, Lu Chen took a step forward and walked into the endless yellow sand. In the 9-star grotto heaven, Li Shang and the others were as anxious as ants on a hot pot. There's only 1 month left. The last month, Earth's protection period will end. When the time comes, others will challenge Lu Chen. If he doesn't accept the challenge, then Earth will be sacrificed. Jin Luan said anxiously. I know. However, the myriad worlds maze force field appeared in Changshu City. Who knows how many people have been pulled into the myriad worlds maze? Lu Chen must have been pulled into the maze as well. It's not that easy to get out of the myriad worlds maze. If it were any other time, going through the 3,000 worlds would not be a big deal. However, now, Lu Chen is trapped in the maze. What should we do? Gu Yan slammed a stack of spirit tablets on the table. In the past 2 years, we have accumulated more than 400 spirit tablets in the herb garden. In the end, we have no place to use them. Li Shang sighed. No wonder Gu Yan was so angry. At this time, who could still sit still? Just when everyone was anxious and helpless, a loose immortal working in the herb garden suddenly came to the 9-star grotto heaven. Immortal Master Gu Yan, I have something to ask for an audience with you. Gu Yan was now the person in charge of the herb garden. Although he was not a real immortal, the other loose immortals called him Immortal Master. Gu Yan was in a bad mood. Unlike his usual self, he walked out impatiently. What's the matter? Immortal Master, I met 2 people yesterday, a man and a woman. They seem to have just arrived at the 7th layer of heaven. They asked me about solipsistic. Oh, about Chun'er? Who are they? Gu Yan suddenly realized. They said that they were solipsistic's friends and students. At that time, I was careful. I was afraid that they were here to cause trouble. So I said that I had never heard of them. Then the man was surprised and said something like, the dean has been here for 6 years and he hasn't caused any commotion? Isn't this abnormal? The loose immortal imitated a certain person's manner of speaking. Dean? Are they loose immortals or real immortals? They are real immortals. Where are they now? I asked them to leave a sound transmission talisman, but I didn't bring them here. Gu Yan frowned and hurriedly said. And I know, don't mention this to anyone first. I will go back and discuss with Li Shang and the rest. That sound transmission talisman. Can you give it to me? You have taken good care of us these past 2 years. You promised to give us a share of the profits. This is something that we would never dare to think about in the past. I am very happy to be able to help. Don't worry, I will keep this a secret. This is the sound transmission talisman. And I Nong handed a sound transmission talisman to Gu Yan. After Gu Yan thanked him, he hurriedly turned around and discussed with Li Shang and the rest. Everyone knew that Lu Chen had founded an academy in the 6th layer of heaven. So when Enai Nong imitated that person and said Dean is so, everyone felt that that person was not lying. After some discussion, everyone decided to meet those 2 people. Li Shang said to the sound transmission talisman. Hello, I know solipsistic. Where are you now? Let's meet. Not long after, the sound transmission talisman responded. We are at a place called Kunlun City. Kunlun City. Li Shang looked at the few people. I will go with Jin Luan first. We will know if they are friends or foes after we try. Chapter 1242. Li Shang and Jin Luan made an appointment with the other party at Jianyue restaurant. The 2 ordered 2 cups of Star Moon tea and waited for the other party. Not long after, a man and a woman came in from the door. The man was tall and handsome. The woman was dressed in black and had an outstanding appearance. The 2 looked around as if they were looking for someone. Li Shang gave Jin Luan a look. Jin Luan stepped forward and asked, May I ask if the 2 immortal lords are looking for someone? The man said, Yes, you are the dean's friends? Jin Luan nodded. This way, please. The 2 groups quickly mentioned Lu Chen. Li Shang asked, May I ask what is the relationship between the two of you and the solipsistic school? I am his friend. My name is Jiu. The woman was actually Jiu of the Wood Manor. Oh, I am his student Yi Fan. The man said. Yi Fan? Hearing this name, Li Shang seemed to have an impression. Lu Chen once mentioned his proud disciple. Shouldn't you be the dean of the Divinity and Demon Academy? How come you came to the 7th layer of heaven so quickly? Yi Fan said. It's a long story. Originally, I wouldn't have gone through the tribulation so quickly, but after the dean went through the tribulation, several major events happened in the 6th layer of heaven. Oh, what happened? Jin Wan asked. The first thing was that the weather changed, the difficulty of the tribulation decreased, and the tribulation of the same level was the weakest in history. At that time, the experts of the tribulation realm said that this was a great opportunity that only appeared once in 1,000 years. Therefore, the number of people who went through the tribulation during this period was more than the previous 100 years combined. The power of the tribulation of the same level decreased? Li Shang was somewhat puzzled. We also don't know what happened. Some people speculated that the tribulation didn't have enough energy, but these are just guesses. In short, after the dean left, the first few people who went through the tribulation smoothly, and for a time, the 6th layer of heaven set off a frenzy of tribulation. The second thing is that the Celestial Emperor's Sumeru realm in the Huangtian Celestial Palace, the Astral Illusion Formation in the Celestial Demon Academy, the Ancient Demonic Blood Prison in the Demon Blood Cave, and the Heavenly River Sword Lake in the Heavenly Sword Mysterious Land have refreshed their usage times. What's even more terrifying is that the spiritual energy in the 4 secret realms is endless. Yi Fan continued. The Academy believes that this rare heavenly phenomenon is a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, and decided to let a few disciples of the Divine Devil Academy seize this opportunity, so they let me cultivate in the Star Sky Illusion Array for a year, which is equivalent to 30 years. In addition, after cultivating outside for a few years, I also reached the tribulation passing stage, and challenged the heavenly tribulation. That's why I could reach the 7th layer of heaven in such a short time. Jior added. That's true. A rare opportunity appeared in the 6th heaven. I entered the ancient demonic blood prison to cultivate for 3 years, before transcending my tribulation in advance. Li Shang's eyes widened. I didn't think that after Lu Chen left, such a great opportunity would appear in the 6th heavenly layer. But before you transcended your tribulation, didn't you sever your mortal bonds? We rarely hear of people looking for someone after just arriving in the 7th heavenly layer. After all, your mortal bonds have already been severed. Since you're going to transcend your tribulation, the people and matters of the past are no longer important. Yi Fan said. The dean did not sever his mortal bonds before transcending his tribulation, so we divine devil people should naturally do the same. Jior quietly said. He said that I have the right to choose. I once forgot about it, but this time I chose. I don't want to forget it again. Yi Fan secretly nodded from the side. He once again sighed with emotion at the dean's charms. He had already left for 6 years, but Jior would rather cross her tribulation with his memories than choose to forget. Fortunately, the power of the heavenly tribulation this time was much weaker. We were able to resist it and successfully transcended it. Li Shang understood what had happened in the 6th heavenly layer recently. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Lu Chen's friends were definitely not simple. Although it was said that the heavenly tribulation was weakened, it couldn't be that much weaker. Moreover, to transcend the tribulation without severing one's mortal bonds, one would definitely not be able to do it without sufficient perseverance and an incomparably firm will. No matter what, it was now certain that these 2 people were indeed Lu Chen's friends. May I ask the 2 immortal masters, how many true immortals are you? Jin Wan suddenly asked. Both of us are 9 tribulations. Yi Fan had nothing to hide, so he directly said. Lu Chen hadn't become an immortal, but his disciples and friends were all 9 tribulations true immortals. Yi Fan and Jior talked about their own situation, so Li Shang couldn't hide anything anymore. He told Yi Fan and Jior about Lu Chen's current situation. I knew the dean wouldn't die so easily, but trapped in the myriad world maze? Yi Fan slammed the table and stood up abruptly. No, I have to save the dean. Immortal Master Yi Fan. Li Shang pulled Yi Fan back. The myriad world maze contains more than tens of thousands of worlds. Even an immortal supremacy would take a long time to come out after entering, let alone find someone inside. It's almost impossible. Jin Luan also said, we don't have to worry about the danger of the myriad world maze. The key is that we don't have much time now. The last coordinates of Earth were in Lu Chen's hands, and Lu Chen was trapped in the myriad world maze, unable to come out. That was the problem. Yi Fan calmed himself down and sat down. Jiu'er was silent for a moment, then said, Yi Fan, since Lu Chen is safe for the time being, why don't we help them think of a way to protect Earth's coordinates? You're willing to help us? Li Shang asked in surprise. Yi Fan said, the dean is my master. If it weren't for him, I would have died long ago. Now that the dean is in trouble, I, Yi Fan, will naturally risk my life to help him. Jiu'er looked ahead in a daze. Me too. But what about the coordinates of your world? Yi Fan said. Our world is not in danger for the time being. My grandfather is in the 7th heaven. Your grandfather? Yi Fan nodded, a faint murderous intent in his eyes. My grandfather is Immortal Supremacy Ling Tian Yi Shao. He has another name, Celestial Venerable Yi Ling. Immortal Supremacy Ling Tian. Li Shang almost vomited blood on the spot. Celestial Venerable Yi, one of the 3 great immortal supremacies of the human race. He's your grandfather? Unexpectedly, Yi Fan's eyes burned with a strong murderous intent. That's right. He was the one who massacred my lineage of the Yi clan, seized Celestial Emperor Ye's cultivation technique, and finally transcended the tribulation to become an immortal. What's going on? Jiu'er was somewhat puzzled. Aren't you cultivating Celestial Emperor Ye's cultivation technique as well? Yi Fan let out a long breath. Celestial Emperor Ye's cultivation technique has a total of 9 levels. I only have 7 levels, so it's not complete. The 8th level is in Yi Zhao's hands and the 9th level is missing. Yi Fan sighed and said, the planet's coordinates are related to the plundering of resources. Yi Zhao definitely won't miss it, so it's equivalent to him protecting our planet. But Senior Jiu'er, is there any problem on your side? Jiu'er said, previously we went to check the planet's information. Although my world is dangerous, it still has over 20 years of protection. But Senior Li Shang, I need to go and get the coordinates first. With the coordinates in my hands, I feel more at ease. A protection period of over 20 years was actually very tight. No wonder Jiu'er had hurriedly left Lu Chen. If it weren't for the great change in the 6th heaven, Jiu'er's time would be even more tight. At this point, it was no longer the time to be polite. Yi Fan and Jiu'er were willing to help, so Li Shang and Jin Luan were more or less relieved. Chapter 1243. Yi Fan and Jiu'er first went to the Immortal Bestowment platform to get the coordinates of their respective planets, and then followed Li Shang to the 9-star paradise. 2 immortal masters. Li Shang just started to speak when Yi Fan interrupted him. Senior Li Shang, between us there is no need to call you immortal master. This junior dares not accept it. Li Shang smiled. Alright, then I won't call you that. It's like this. What we need to think about now is if Lu Chen is unable to rush back in time, how to protect Earth's coordinates. Now the only way we can think of is for you to snatch Earth's coordinates from other people and then give them to us. Although this is only a stopgap measure, we can only hold on for as long as we can. Yi Fan nodded. After all, they are not Earthlings, so it is useless for them to snatch the coordinates. The coordinates must be in the hands of the Earthlings themselves. Jiu'er frowned. It's just that, if we give you the coordinates, I'm afraid other people will come and snatch your coordinates. When we came to the 7th layer of heaven, we received a notification. The Immortal War is the event with the highest number of immortals dying in the 7th layer of heaven. The Immortal War has no rules. Yi Fan also thought of this point. Li Shang and the rest are loose immortals and their strength is very weak. They forcefully passed the tribulation. If an accident happens in the Immortal War, they will die. Back then there were 19 loose immortals guarding 19 coordinates on Earth, and 9 of them had already died. This kind of death rate is too terrifying. Li Shang smiled and turned around to take out an illusion map. Opening the illusion map, it actually shows a star field with a blue planet in the center. Looking from the starry sky, the blue planet slowly rotates. It is quiet and beautiful. The blue planet is so beautiful that it makes people wonder why there is such a beautiful planet in this cold universe. All the loose immortals on Earth can't help but stare blankly at this illusion map. This is our planet. Its name is Earth, Li Shang said faintly. Ever since we passed the tribulation, we never went back. Now that we see it, we suddenly realize that we really miss our home. When we got the coordinates, we swore to protect this planet. After saying this, Li Shang turned around and looked at Yi Fan and Jiu Er. Unfortunately, us old fellows really don't have any ability. Back then, after we got the coordinates, we were targeted by immortals from a high martial planet. They challenged 19 of us. We tried our best, but we could only watch as they took the coordinates away from us. Out of 19 people, 9 died in battle, but they didn't accomplish anything. At that time, we recognized the reality. In this world where the strong are respected and the weak are prey to the strong, we, the people at the bottom of the seventh heavens, can't protect anything. But luckily, we still have one last hope. Since we are still in the protection period, we can't snatch the last coordinate. What's more fortunate is that Lu Chen has grown up. His father had said that he would definitely guard this last coordinate. We have no doubts about this. If there's still hope, even if it's just the last sliver of hope, then so what if I die? At least our deaths have some meaning. That's enough. Jiuer's eyes were wet as she looked at Li Shang and the rest with tears in her eyes. In short, it's not that they didn't know that this plan might lead to their deaths, but they were prepared to sacrifice themselves for this sliver of hope. According to the previous probability of 9 out of 19 people dying, every time someone challenges them, it means that they have almost a 50% chance of being killed. What's worse is that when others know that there are only 10 loose immortals on Earth, and that they are using this method to extend their lives, they may directly kill them. As long as these 10 loose immortals are all killed, then even if Yi Fan and Jiuer snatch the coordinates again, because there is no target to give, Earth will be sacrificed. In this way, the probability of them being killed is far more than 50%. Suddenly Li Shang and the rest knelt down in front of Yi Fan and Jiuer. Li Shang said with tears in his eyes, "Our deaths are not regrettable. We only ask that the two of you do your best to take back the coordinates of Earth." Yi Fan and Jiuer hurried over and helped everyone up one by one. Yi Fan narrowed his eyes slightly. He can't completely help the dean with this matter. He can only try his best to fight for the coordinates. He said with a trembling voice, "Seniors, there is no need to be so courteous. I, Yi Fan, am ashamed that I can't share the dean's burden, but I will do my best to fight for more coordinates." Jiuer's eyes were red. "Lu Chen's home is our home. Please rest assured, Yi Fan and I will do our best." Li Shang cupped his fists in gratitude. There was still half a year before Earth's protection period. During this time, Li Shang and the rest gave all the spirit tablets to Jiuer and Yi Fan. At the same time, Jiuer and Yi Fan also distributed the True Immortals Cave and Herb Garden to exchange for spirit tablets and equipment. Everyone was preparing for the final battle in half a year. 5.5 months later, there was only half a month left before Earth's protection period. Lu Chen and Ling Long came to a technological world. When he saw the world in front of him, Lu Chen couldn't help but take a few steps back. Nameless. Ling Long supported Lu Chen and looked at him worriedly. Even during the battle with the primordial tree, Lu Chen wasn't so weak. Lu Chen sat on the ground weakly, lowered his head and muttered, "This is already the 500th world. 500 worlds. And I still haven't found the exit. This damn myriad world maze, is there a fucking exit?" Lu Chen roared and punched the ground, creating a big hole. In 2 years Lu Chen had passed through 500 worlds. He never stopped, but this time he was on the verge of collapse. Ling Long was also upset. The closer it was to the end of the protection period, the more irritable John Doe became. She could understand Lu Chen's feelings at this time. His world was about to be sacrificed. It might not matter to others, but to Lu Chun, it was tantamount to the collapse of the sky and the earth. A few seconds later, Lu Chun stood up abruptly. Linglong, let's go. I can't stop here. I won't give up until the last moment. Linglong did not follow Lu Chun directly. She just stared at Lu Chun's back in a daze. Countless blows still couldn't break his faith. There was still something supporting him to continue moving forward. Half a month later, today was the last day of Earth's protection period. Lu Chun and Linglong passed through a portal and stood in front of a technological world that was dead silent. There had just been a large-scale massacre. Human corpses were everywhere, and corpses were everywhere. Buildings were tilted, houses collapsed, and the surroundings were a mess. It was like the end of the world. It was ironic that on their last stop, they still came to an extinct technological world. It was as if they were deliberately showing Lu Chun what Earth would look like in the near future. Chapter 1244. It was the last day of the protection period for Earth's coordinates, but Lu Chun was still in a technological world. Even Lu Chun, who had never given up, felt physically and mentally exhausted at this moment. He looked at this unfamiliar world with a dazed expression. He asked expressionlessly, Linglong, am I already too late? Linglong did not know what to say. There was no time. Not only was there no time, but they had not even found the way and were still lost in the myriad world maze. Nameless, you've done your best. No one can guarantee that everything will be done flawlessly. Everyone will have their own regrets. What's the use of trying my best? I still couldn't guard Earth's last coordinate. Lu Chun said as he walked forward in a daze. Where are you going? Linglong hurriedly chased after him. Lu Chun's current state was not right. Lu Chun did not say anything and just walked along the bloodstains. Lu Chun did not say anything, so Linglong could only follow behind him silently. At the seventh heaven, all the planet inquiry devices in the human race's immortal realm displayed a red alert at the same time. Earth's protection period had expired. At the same time, Earth's basic information was displayed. Red alert, Earth 20 coordinates. 20 coordinates have been claimed. Remaining coordinates. 1. This planet's protection period has expired. In every city in the immortal realm, the inquiry devices were usually the most crowded places. At this time, everyone was attracted by this eye-catching warning message. The protection period of a planet has expired. 20 coordinates. It's a technological world. It's not interesting. The technological world also has resources. Although the development of spiritual power in the technological world is often destroyed beyond recognition, there are still some usable spiritual power resources. This is easy to get. There's only one coordinate left. As long as we get this coordinate, we can get the resources. Soon, another row of information appeared on the inquiry device. Information of the owner of the remaining coordinates, solipsistic, immortal level, none cave abode, none immortal battle record, 0 battles 0 wins. Ah, not even immortal level? So it's a rogue immortal. Wouldn't I be giving away resources for free? A man walked up to the inquiry device and inserted his information card. Challenge solipsistic. The challenge has been accepted. There are currently 168 challengers. The order is based on the time of application. If the challenge fails, the challengers will continue to challenge. If the challenge succeeds, the order will be invalid. 168 challengers. So many people wanted to take advantage of the situation? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have challenged him. Even if I had queued up, it would have been a waste. When the others saw this, some of them were originally eager to give it a try, but they immediately dismissed the idea. There were 168 people waiting to challenge him. How long he had to wait was a small problem. The key was that there was no chance for him to get his turn. In my opinion, what's the point of challenging such a trashy planet? We should just sacrifice it. That's true. The last set of coordinates is held by someone who hasn't even opened the immortal path, and hasn't even reached the immortal realm. Isn't this a waste of time? Just as the people of various cities were idly discussing this planet that was about to be sacrificed, 2 more lines of words suddenly appeared on the query device. Information changed. Currently, there are only 3 Earth coordinates left. Then, below the solipsistic information, 2 more lines of information appeared. Flying General, Immortal Realm. None, Cave Abode. 9 stars, Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode. Immortal War Record. 3 battles, 3 losses. Bright Lamp, Immortal Realm. None, Cave Abode. 9 stars, Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode. Immortal War Record. 2 battles, 2 losses. Some people who had already stopped paying attention to the information on Earth were suddenly attracted by these 2 new pieces of information. What's going on? Are they all itinerant immortals? Did they snatch the coordinates from the true immortals? It shouldn't be. The Immortal War record is very clear. They have never won the Immortal War. Naturally, they couldn't have snatched the coordinates back by themselves. Their immortal master should have helped them. Which immortal master would be so stupid to help these people? They are too weak, and Earth's protection period has expired. The coordinates in their hands will be taken away very soon. When that time comes, I want to see if their immortal master will continue to help them. New information appeared on the query device again. It seemed like there was a lot of information about Earth. Solipsistic cultivator, who has not issued a challenge within 20 minutes will be deemed to have forfeited the Immortal War. The coordinates will be transferred to the first challenger. Earth's remaining coordinates. 2 after that, the information about Earth's coordinates would be refreshed every once in a while. Flying General, 54 challengers. Remaining time to answer. 18 minutes 47 seconds. Bright Lamp, 62 challengers. Remaining time to answer. 2 minutes 12 seconds. Bright Lamp accepts the challenge of the 100 Source True Immortal. Location: Kunlun Immortal Battleground. Information changed. New coordinates: Huahan Immortal Realm. None Cave Abode. 9 stars, Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode. Immortal War Record. 2 battles, 2 losses. Current total coordinates on Earth: 3. Information changed. Bright Lamp's coordinates have been seized. Current total coordinates on Earth: 2. At the same time, Bright Lamp's personal information was deleted from the table. Information changed. New coordinates: Wentian Immortal Realm. None Cave Abode. 9 stars, Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode. Immortal War Record. 3 battles, 3 losses. Current total coordinates on Earth: 3. These messages were refreshed every few minutes. Everyone was baffled by what they saw. What's going on? Are these itinerant immortals crazy? Who on earth is helping them? There must be something wrong with that true immortal's brain. How many true immortals are helping them? This is the first time I've seen such a thing. Interesting. All their immortal battlegrounds are held in Kunlun City. I'll go and see what the hell is going on. It was too easy to teleport to the 7th heaven. A teleportation talisman could do it. At this time, more and more people were flocking to Kunlun City to see what was going on with their own eyes. Kunlun City Immortal Battleground. Yi Fan had just taken back a set of Earth's coordinates from a 5 Tribulation itinerant immortal, and quickly handed it to Li Shang. True immortal Li Long was only a nameless character in the 7th heaven. Even so, his star level was 2 stars higher than Yi Fan's. Yi Fan had just entered the 7th heaven. Although he had opened the path of immortality, he was only a 1-star true immortal. Relying on Yi Fan's extremely strong fighting ability, after a fierce battle, he finally took back the Earth's coordinates. Senior Li Shang, I'll immediately challenge the next one. Lu Chen had just stood up when he suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. This was not Yi Fan's first battle. Although these Earth itinerant immortals waited until the last moment to accept the challenge, and did their best to delay the time, Yi Fan and Jiu, could not delay. Others had 20 minutes to accept the challenge. They must quickly take back more coordinates so that they would not run out of coordinates. However, Earth itinerant immortals might only take a few minutes to lose a match. But Yi Fan might take a long time to win a match. Because of this, Yi Fan did not dare to stop at all. In every immortal battle, he must defeat his opponent in the shortest time possible. Li Shang looked at Yi Fan spitting out blood. His eyes widened. Yi Fan Senior need not say any more. The Dean's home is Yi Fan's home. If it was him, he would also risk his life to protect it. There is not much time left. I'll immediately challenge the next person. Yi Fan hurriedly left. Not long after, Jiao also took back a set of coordinates and gave it to Li Shang. But Jiao situation was worse than Yi Fan's. There was a long cut on her arm. Senior Li Shang, these are the coordinates. I'll go challenge the next one. Jiao hurriedly left. Li Shang was somewhat choked. These two people had already fought 3 times in a row. Their bodies were already injured. But they still did not give up. What made people depressed was that even though Li Shang's heart was filled with mixed feelings, he did not have time to think. Li Shang, Mingdang, Fei Jiang are already seriously injured. Give me this set of coordinates. Guyan said. Give me the other one. Jin Wan checked Mingdang and Fei Jiang's injuries and quickly walked over. Li Shang's hands trembled. These coordinates were not fighting for glory but the ticket to hell. Chapter 1245. Lu Chen had realized that the coordinates of Earth in his backpack had disappeared. Since he had exceeded the battle time, he was considered to have forfeited, and the last coordinates in his hands were taken back. It's over. Lu Chen stood there shakily as if he had lost his soul. Ling Long walked to Lu Chen's side. The coordinates. They're gone. Lu Chen closed his eyes slightly, and 2 streams of tears formed a line. Ling Long was also affected by Lu Chen's emotions, and her eyes were red. This man had never cried in front of her. Even a moment ago, he was still searching numbly. But now he finally broke down. A person who never gives up might not be able to change the outcome. Nameless. Ling Long did not know how to comfort Lu Chen, and could only stand there with him. 10 minutes later, Ling Long could not bear it, but she still asked, Nameless, did you receive it? Receive what? Lu Chen asked weakly. I don't mean anything else. I just want you to confirm if you received the news that your world has been sacrificed, Ling Long said. Ling Long said, if your world is sacrificed, everyone on this planet within the 7 heavens will receive the news in 10 minutes. The myriad world maze is a part of the 7th heaven after all. You can receive it too. Lu Chen's eyes suddenly widened. I didn't receive it. You didn't receive it. Is there a turning point? Ling Long said excitedly. Lu Chen looked nervous and thought carefully. Impossible, there can't be a turning point. Li Shang and the others are not strong enough to take back Earth's coordinates, and the strongest of the other Earthlings is only at the 5th heaven. Could it be that they went to beg a true immortal? Ling Long asked. Lu Chen did not know. He had been lost in the myriad world maze for 2 years. How could he know what had happened in the 7th heaven main world? Nameless, no matter what, if you didn't receive the news, it means that Earth has not been sacrificed. We still have a chance. Ling Long pulled Lu Chen's arm. Lu Chen nodded blankly. Nameless, no matter what the reason is, you cannot give up now. Lu Chen nodded numbly. Of course, he did not want to give up. However, he was still in the myriad world maze and had not even found the exit of this world. I won't give up. Louis Zhui, they are still on Earth. I can't give up. I can't watch them die. Lu Chen kept reminding himself. Suddenly, Lu Chen grabbed Ling Long's hand. Ling Long, is there any other way out of the myriad world maze? I don't care what method you use. Ling Long frowned. I would have told you if I knew. Nameless, calm down. Only then did Lu Chen loosen his grip, his mind whirling. Right below the cliff in front of them was the magical beast lair of this world. Looking over from here, they could see black magical beasts crawling out endlessly, and then rushing in all directions. Staring blankly at the monsters, Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. No, I don't believe there's no other way out. In the past 2 years, Lu Chen had been to more than 500 worlds. Each world was invaded by magical beasts arranged according to the martial arts level of the world. These magical beasts were guaranteed to crush the current world. In the technological world, there were only some weak magical beasts that were massacred under the protection of the Soul Shield. In the martial arts world, there were powerful magical beasts like the Black Demon, the Black Demon King, and the Black Demon God that were guaranteed to be stronger than the current world's strongest. In the martial arts world, there were terrifying existences like the Black God guarding it. There were no exceptions in the 500 worlds. These magical beasts were deliberately arranged. Lu Chen suddenly said. Ah, you mean these magical beasts? That's true, Ling Long said. Since it was arranged, where did these magical beasts come from? They couldn't have appeared out of thin air. Lu Chen looked at the magical beast lair. There are so many magical beasts, endless. Where did they all come from? Suddenly, Lu Chen's eyes lit up. Could there really be so many magical beasts in the lair? No matter how deep the lair was, it couldn't have produced so many magical beasts out of thin air. These magical beasts should have been sent over. And what could be connected to the 10,000 worlds and send these magical beasts to different worlds of different martial arts levels? It was the Great Mongol Tree. Only the Great Mongol Tree could send these magical beasts to so many different worlds. The Great Mongol Tree is connected to the 10,000 worlds. What sent these magical beasts to the various worlds is the root system of the Great Mongol Tree. And the root system of the Great Mongol Tree must be connected to the seven heavens main world. Lu Chen's eyes widened. After saying that, he looked at Ling Long, I can't take you with me because I don't know where it leads. You are a true immortal and your lifespan is not limited. You don't have to take the risk with me. Ling Long looked at Lu Chen in shock. What are you going to do? Lu Chen's eyes were like torches as he said in a deep voice. I have to go back. Even if it's the 10,000 tribulations hell, I have to give it a try. After saying that, Lu Chen rushed into the magical beast's lair in a flash and disappeared. The mountain breeze blew past, lifting Ling Long's long hair. She stared blankly at the magical beast's lair below the cliff, her heart suddenly empty. He left. Although he was right, Ling Long was a 9 tribulation true immortal. Not to mention 2 years, she could afford to waste 20 years or even 200 years. She didn't need to take the risk. However, when he abandoned her without hesitation, Ling Long still felt a sense of loss in her heart. After a long time, Ling Long shook her head and said faintly with reddened eyes, Ling Long, what's wrong with you? You didn't need to take the risk with him in the first place. After saying that, Ling Long sat down cross-legged and prepared to cultivate the ice heart technique. But after cultivating for a while, 2 streams of hot tears flowed down uncontrollably. In the magical beast's lair, countless magical beasts attacked this intruder like seawater. Symbiosis of gods and demons. Dragon god form. Lu Chen activated his skill and transformed into a white-haired, golden-armored god of war. He roared, "Get lost!" It wasn't that these magical beasts were worth it, but that he had to race against time. Between them, a golden figure wrapped in raging flames drove straight in with irresistible force. It traversed thousands of miles and cut through all the thorns in its way to the Earth's core. Any magical beasts that got close to him were all burned to ashes. Great Mongol Tree, come out! Lu Chen roared, and spiritual power roared all over his body. Countless magical beasts, including the leader of this group of magical beasts, couldn't get close to Lu Chen at all. Half an hour later, Lu Chen had already drilled tens of thousands of meters into the ground. The Great Mongol Tree had said that its roots were rooted near the Earth's core. Perhaps he could find it there. Not long after, Lu Chen indeed got close to the Earth's core. Just beside the Earth's core, he saw an object wrapped in vines that looked like a heart. This thing was exactly the same as the branch of the Great Mongol Tree that Lu Chen had defeated on the 9th floor of the pagoda. Found it. Lu Chen widened his eyes. Come out. Otherwise, I'll destroy one of your branches whenever I go to a world. There are tens of thousands of worlds in the myriad world maze. If there's one, I'll destroy it. As soon as he finished speaking, the vines wriggled, and Lu Chen saw the beautiful face of a young girl. The young girl wasn't angry at all. She smiled at Lu Chen. It's been 2 years. You've finally found me? Chapter 1246. Lu Chen's eyes were wide open as he stared at the girl's face. He lowered his voice and said fiercely, You heard what I said just now. Send me back to the 7th heaven now. Otherwise, even if you're rooted in the myriad worlds, I'll uproot you. The vines rolled, and the girl's complete body broke away from the dense vines. She walked slowly to Lu Chen. The girl frowned slightly and pretended to be surprised. I don't think you should be talking to me like this now. If you want to go back, shouldn't you be begging me? Lu Chen clenched his fists and stared at the girl. After a while Lu Chen said, "What do you want?" The girl smiled. 23 months and 27 days. You've experienced 513 worlds. During this time, you've saved 74 worlds. If you didn't waste this time, you might have found me earlier. Lu Chen, I want to ask you, do you regret it? Lu Chen took a deep breath and calmed his emotions. Yes. If I walk again, I'll save them again. What I regret is that I didn't think of you earlier. You exist in every world. The girl looked at Lu Chen and frowned slightly. After experiencing so many worlds and seeing so many deaths, even if you didn't see through it, don't tell me you're not numb to it? Dust Fate Star, White Wave Star, Hong 5 Star, I can tell you clearly that those worlds have been massacred within a year after you left. The people you know are all dead. The green mist in Lu Chen's eyes rolled out uncontrollably. If she wasn't his only hope to go back, Lu Chen would have exploded. The young siblings Tian Rui, Zuoxiu Zhujin, they were all dead. Don't you understand? You can't save anyone. Seeing Lu Chen's furious eyes, the girl chuckled and looked away. You're looking at me so fiercely. It's quite scary. I have to explain that my interest is in reproduction, not destruction. These creatures are not under my command. I just exist in the myriad worlds. What people use me for, whether it's saving people or killing people, is not something I can control. Just like the god-slaying spear in your hand. You use it to kill people and save demons. That's your business, not the god-slaying spears. So don't blame this on me. I feel wronged. The girl looked at Lu Chen again. Lu Chen, you are different from the others in the 7th layer of heaven. After so many years, this is the first time I've seen a mortal rush up to the 7th layer of heaven. Immortals and devils are emotionless. What is love? They have 7 emotions and 6 desires. They pursue the heavenly Tao and in the end, they merge with the heavenly Tao and return to the heavenly Tao. But you are different. Going from the 1st heaven to the 7th heaven didn't change you. The myriad world maze didn't change you. You are you. Mortal, there's something I'm interested in on you. Lu Chen wasn't in the mood to listen to the great Mongol tree. He said angrily, "What are you trying to say? Look at how anxious you are. Don't you know that I have the time-space? We are in the time-space now. It won't take up too much of your time." Lu Chen frowned. Even in the time-space he was anxious. He didn't know what was going on in the 7th layer of heaven. He didn't want to waste a second. Okay. You asked me what I want. Then I'll say it directly. The girl smiled. I want to make a deal with you. What kind of deal? I want to. The girl's eyes started to look a little strange. Reproduce. Lu Chen was originally very anxious. When he heard this unreasonable request, Lu Chen almost vomited blood at such an urgent moment. She wanted him to reproduce with a tree. What kind of weird request was this? Reproduce. You're not a human. Besides, I'm not in the mood. The girl covered her mouth and smiled. It seems that you're very shy. The reproduction I'm talking about is different from the mating you humans talk about. Of course, if you want to do it in that way, I can also satisfy you. As long as you want, I can also be a human. I can be any race you want. If you agree to my request, I'll send you back to the 7th layer of heaven. How about it? Lu Chen took a deep breath. Countless thoughts were in his mind. Then he took off his coat and said, I only have one condition. Hurry up. I'm in a hurry. The girl smiled charmingly. Her whole body retreated into the heart chamber, and her body disintegrated into vines. Then, thousands of thin vines wrapped around Lu Chen's body and dragged him into the heart chamber. The vines wrapped around Lu Chen's limbs and body, making him unable to move. The fastest way will be a little painful. Don't resist. The girl's face appeared beside Lu Chen's ear and whispered. Then, thousands of vines directly pierced into the surface of Lu Chen's body. His whole body was stinging. Lu Chen shouted in a low voice, I'll go. This seems to be a bit different from the reproduction scene in Lu Chen's imagination. Those vines began to twitch Lu Chen's blood. The blood flowed along the vines into the heart chamber. In the center of the heart chamber, countless thin red vines were intertwined into a ball, seemingly forming some kind of strange shape. Not long after, Lu Chen saw that the vines were forming the shape of a human baby. It was becoming more and more concrete, and more vivid. The girl's sharp scream sounded in his ears. It seemed that her pain was more severe than Lu Chen's. Half an hour. Lu Chen's blood was still slowly flowing to the baby. Didn't you say it would be fast? It's been half an hour. Lu Chen gritted his teeth and said. The girl's voice was a little weak. What other reproduction methods can you be faster than half an hour? Lu Chen was actually speechless. He looked sideways at the baby. At this time, it was exactly the same as a normal human baby, wrapped in a large number of vines. Finally, it slowly opened its eyes and opened its mouth to cry loudly. Lu Chen frowned. You can't be a clone? Cloning goes against the laws of heaven and earth. I'm talking about reproduction. It's just that the method isn't what you think. This child has fused with our genes. It's our real child. Although the girl had been transformed into vines and Lu Chen couldn't see her, her voice was always by Lu Chen's ear. The girl gasped for breath. I've seen countless people separated by life and death. I've also seen the sinister nature of human hearts. I know how fragile humans are. However, isn't it interesting? I'm a creature with unimaginable strength, but I desire to become a normal person. I don't have the chance, but our child can. My child is no longer a seed without consciousness. He can no longer be manipulated by others, no longer be a tool. He can have his own future. He can use his own hands to change his own destiny. At this time, the girl's voice was trembling. It was as if she was a real mother. When she saw her child with countless expectations, she was so emotional that tears streamed down her face. Lu Chen, I can't keep the child by my side. I'll send him to your sister, and let her bring him back to the real world. Lu Chen was so shocked that he didn't speak. He had a son? He had a son with a tree? No one seemed to be able to accept this. Chapter 1247. Lu Chen would never have dreamed that his first time would be taken away by a tree, and in such a strange way. Speaking of which, could this be considered a first time? This was clearly taking the genes directly from his body. Child's father, let's give our child a name. The girl's voice became unusually gentle. Lu Chen was stunned for a while before he reacted. No matter what, this child was indeed his son. Unnamed name. Lu Mu? That sounds a bit unpleasant. Lu Yao, don't you want him to be free? Lu Yao. Okay, let's call him Lu Yao. Leave a keepsake for the child. I will entrust him to your sister. The vines on Lu Chen's body were finally removed. Lu Chen was in a daze until he saw the little life crying beside him. His crying expression was as if his eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. This was his son. Lu Chen carefully picked up the baby. Thinking about the things on him, he finally stuffed a photo into the little guy's hands. It was the family photo that Lu Chen brought back last time. Parents Lu Chen and Lu Yi's family photo. Lu Yi definitely wouldn't mistake this thing when she saw it. The girl transformed into her human form, walked out, and carefully took the child. In the girl's hands, the child miraculously stopped crying and peacefully leaned on the girl's chest. He wants to drink milk. Lu Chen said awkwardly. Do you still want to keep him by your side? Keep him by my side? Then he's even more unfortunate than me. He doesn't need milk. The girl raised her hand, and many vines extended from her heart and weaved into a suitable cradle. One of the vines extended into his mouth. Some white liquid poured into the vines, and the child used all his strength to lick. I'm Lu Yao's mother. How can I let him starve? Lu Chen, your all-creation bloodline has already reached the 2nd level, but you don't have time to improve it now. I'll send you back to the 7th heaven. Lu Chen nodded blankly. Right, I still have a friend outside. What? You already have me, and you're still thinking about other women? Between us, the girl smiled. I was just joking, but you took it seriously. All right, I will guide your friend away. Now you can return to the 7th heaven. After saying that, his heart cavity opened, and a teleportation door appeared inside. Lu Chen walked in front of the teleportation gate. Coincidentally, Lu Yao was looking at Lu Chen and saying something. Lu Chen looked back at Lu Yao. Regardless of the manufacturing process, The result was that this child was his son. Is he leaving just like that? Lu Chen stopped in his tracks. You're sure you'll send him to Lui? Why should I believe you? What? Are you afraid that I'll eat our child? Don't forget, he's not only your son, he's also my son. Hurry up and go back. If you don't hurry up, Earth will be sacrificed. Lu Chen was still worried, but the matter of the coordinates was too urgent. Considering that the girl was right, he turned around and walked towards the portal. By the way, what's your name? Great Mongol Tree? No, I'm just a branch of it. If you really want to call me that, call me Musheng. After Lu Chen heard this, he memorized the name and directly stepped into the portal. Not long after, Lu Chen walked out of the portal. At this moment, he was standing in the ruins of Changshu City. I'm back. Lu Chen's eyes widened. Oh no, where are they now? I don't have a teleportation talisman either. Lu Chen rushed to the West City. There was a planet's information retrieval device there, and there were many people gathered there. Lu Chen pushed through the crowd and saw the eye-catching information on the device. Information changed. The Golden Imperial Palace's coordinates have been stolen. Current Earth's coordinates: 1 Lishang Immortal Level, Nun Cave Abode, 9-star Grotto Heaven, Low-level Cave Abode, Immortal Battle Record, 5 defeats in 5 battles. Lishang 183 challengers, remaining time to answer: 2 minutes 47 seconds. That Yi Fan and Jiao won't be able to snatch it back this time, someone said from the side. Those two immortals have fought 7 or 8 battles in a row. They are so seriously injured that they can't move. I don't understand why they insist on protecting this earth. It's useless. That Li Shang seems to be unable to hold on anymore. He almost died in the previous battle. This time, once he answers, the battle will be over in 10 seconds. Those 10 immortals from Earth took turns to fight. It seems that 6 or 7 of them died. A immortal said leisurely. Suddenly, a figure flashed in front of him and grabbed his collar. A pair of terrifying eyes appeared in front of that person. Where are they? Ah, what are you doing? Where are they? That person wanted to break free, but found that the spiritual power that erupted from this person's body was extremely terrifying. He was almost strangled to death. Where is Earth's immortal battle? Lu Chen squeezed out a few words from between his teeth. In Kunlun City. Take me there now. That person hurriedly took out a teleportation talisman and teleported with Lu Chen to Kunlun City. Kunlun City Immortal Battle Arena. Next to the first Immortal Battle Arena's grandstand, there were several people covered in cuts and bruises lying on the ground. Yi Fan, Jiao Erfei Jiang Guyan Mingdang. It was unknown whether these people were dead or alive. Yi Fan supported his body and looked at the people beside him. Jiao was still breathing, but her spiritual power was exhausted. Coupled with the heavy injuries on her body, she had fainted. Jin Wan, who had just fought, had a big hole in his chest. They had used up all their pills and could only watch him die. Fei Jiang and Mingdang had already lost their breath. It was unknown whether the remaining people were dead or alive. Li Shang's arms were cut off, and he was on the verge of death. However, at this time, there was no one else who could fight. This last coordinate could only be guarded by him. Senior Li Shang. Yes, cough cough cough. Sorry. Yi Fan's eyes were red. Li Shang looked at Yi Fan, and then looked at his companions lying here. Tears streamed down his face. Yi Fan, you and Jiao have already done your best. Such a great kindness, unfortunately. We can only repay it in the next life. Old Li, can you let me see one more time? Jin Wan said weakly. Li Shang nodded and took out the illusion map. He opened the fantasy realm map. The blue planet was rotating peacefully. The other rogue cultivators on the verge of death struggled to open their eyes. Using their last bit of strength, they looked at the beautiful planet. Although she couldn't speak, the moment they saw their homeland, the pain on their bodies seemed to disappear at this moment. Sorry, we are too useless. We couldn't protect you well. Jin Wan painfully closed his eyes and let the tears fall. There was only 1 minute left before the final response time. Li Shang took out the last coordinate and slowly stood up. Even if we are defeated, we will defend to the end. Even if they want to take away Earth, They will have to step over my dead body. Senior Li Shang. Yi Fan's heart was in pain and tears fell like rain. At this moment, the sky suddenly darkened, lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. A loud shout directly covered the countless thunder and lightning. Those who touch my homeland, kill without mercy. Chapter 1248. Li Shang, Yi Fan, Jin Wan, and the rest stared blankly at the sky, whose anger could trigger the wrath of the heavens. A black shadow directly shot down from the sky above the immortal arena and landed in front of Li Shang and the others with a bang. Lu Chen's eyes widened as he looked at the wounded. Little Green. Lu Chen called out Little Green. Quick, save them no matter what. Lu Yi hurriedly checked everyone's injuries. Li Shang, Yi Fan, and Jin Wan looked at Lu Chen in shock. Dean, you're finally back. I knew you would come back. Quick, there's no time. Senior Li Shang coordinates. Li Shang didn't have time to say anything. He hurriedly flew the coordinates to Lu Chen and gave them to Lu Chen. There was less than a minute left. No matter what they had to say, transferring the coordinates was the most important thing. Lu Chen received the coordinates and looked at everyone's injuries. Anger attacked his heart. Among these people, he didn't know how many he could save. They were using their lives to buy time. Everyone had done their best to protect Earth. Yi Fan and Jior also came. Unfortunately, Lu Chen didn't have time to ask. He pressed one hand on Yi Fan's shoulder and nodded at him. He said with a trembling voice, Yi Fan, good job, rest well. Leave the rest to me. Chen, be careful. There are 183 challengers. Lu Chen came back, but it didn't mean the coordinates were safe. The real battle had just begun. 6 years of preparation. No, if Lu Yuan and Li Shang's plan was included, then decades of preparation were all for this battle. The battle to protect. There were already 183 challengers in this battle, but Lu Chen was the only one on Earth's side. Lu Chen nodded. Senior Li Shang, I'm going. Then he turned and walked toward the immortal battle arena. Jin Wan swallowed a pill and struggled to sit up. His eyes followed Lu Chen's back as his breathing quickened. Old Li, can that kid hold on? Li Shang leaned against the wall and sighed. I don't know. I only know that if he can't defend, then no one can. In the Kunlun City Immortal Coliseum, a loose immortal was already waiting there. Earth's last place was already in the bag. It was just that this group of individual immortals was weak, but they were too cunning. They had to wait until the last moment before accepting the challenge. He shouted to the audience. I say, you trash from Earth, are you still not willing to give up? The true immortal helping you can't even move. No matter how you 10 ants struggle, you won't be able to change the outcome. What need is there to protect a world like yours? A group of loose immortals was the worst amongst loose immortals. I've already said that I wouldn't have to waste so much time if I killed all of you. Until now you still don't agree to the challenge. Li Shang, I think you might as well give up, lest you get beaten to death by me when you get on the stage. At this moment, a prompt came from above the stage. Solipsistic has accepted the challenge. Please get on the stage to accept the challenge within 30 seconds. That loose immortal frowned slightly. Who is Solipsistic? Those loose immortals from Earth had already gone on the stage. Some even went on the stage twice, but he had never heard of such a person. But then he felt relieved. I guess they found someone to die. Anyway, those immortal cultivators from Earth are famous for their weak strength. It doesn't matter who goes up. Hey Solipsistic, get on the stage and accept your death. If you behave, I'll give you a quick death. On the other side of the immortal Colosseum, a tall man appeared at the entrance. The wind lifted his black robe with golden patterns, but it didn't extinguish the anger in his eyes. Not long after, Lu Chen had already walked to the center of the stage. He glanced at that loose immortal, narrowed his eyes slightly and said coldly, Who are you calling trash? That person wasn't afraid of Lu Chen at all. He raised his head and said contemptuously, What do you think? Look at those trash from Earth, they were beaten like dogs. If they aren't trash, then what are they? In this world, the strong can wantonly trample on trash like you. To be honest, I have no interest in your trash planet. I just feel that you guys are not worthy to appear in the 7th layer of heaven. Being a loose immortal like you guys is the biggest insult to me. Lu Chen snorted coldly. Sorry, I'm not a loose immortal. That person clicked his tongue. Not a loose immortal? Don't tell me you're a true immortal? Dream on. Lu Chen said calmly. I'm also not a true immortal. I'm a human king. Human king? What kind of joke are you making? That person suddenly widened his eyes and looked at Lu Chen in disbelief. Lu Chen sneered. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand one thing before you die. You are not worthy to be mentioned in the same breath as Li Shang and the others. With a ding sound, the Immortal Colosseum began. That person shouted angrily, Solipsistic, you are really arrogant. Unfortunately, your arrogance doesn't match your strength, so you are just a jumping clown. I'll let you know what a 7th tribulation loose immortal is. Immortal technique, 7 ultimate spirit energy cannon. This guy was actually an explosion expert. This was the first time Lu Chen saw an explosion expert in the 7th layer of heaven. If it was a normal time, he might have a good chat with him. But now they are enemies. Lu Chen snorted and instantly activated Divine Demon Symbiosis and Dragon God form. In the distance, Yi Fan was leaning against the wall. When he saw the changes in Lu Chen's form, he couldn't help but frown. Strange, when the Demon God Symbiosis is activated, why is there an instant of a Demon God's image? He had seen the Dean fight many times, so he was quite familiar with Divine Demon Symbiosis. In the past, it was just white hair and a bunch of fox ears. But just now, when Divine Demon Symbiosis was activated, 2 afterimages suddenly appeared. After shaking the surrounding space, they quickly disappeared. Li Shang also frowned. Last time when Lu Chen fought with Chang Sheng, there was no afterimage of Divine Demon. Don't tell me, it leveled up. Yi Fan's eyes widened. Lu Chen's Divine Demon Symbiosis has indeed leveled up. Now it is Divine Demon 8 transformation, and the effect is more powerful than before. Quick Shadow Spear. With a roar, a black spear appeared in Lu Chen's hand. In the blink of an eye, man and spear became one and shot out. In an instant, 4 more shots were fired. Just as the 7 ultimate spiritual energy cannon was activated, a black shadow had already arrived in front of the itinerant immortal. The itinerant immortal's eyes widened. The speed of the spear was so fast that he could not dodge it at all. So fast. Spiritual energy armor shield. The moment the shield was formed, the god-slaying spear had already pierced through the shield. It did not even cause a strong spiritual explosion. When skills of similar power collided, there would definitely be spiritual energy fluctuations. However, if the difference between 2 skills was too great, the spiritual energy fluctuations would be engulfed by the stronger side before they could spread. An extreme shadow instantly pierced through the itinerant immortal's chest. A moment later, the itinerant immortal fell forward stiffly with a horrified expression on his face. In 1 second, a 7th tribulation itinerant immortal was killed. Just now, this itinerant immortal did not have the coordinates of other planets. However, Lu Chen could obtain the collateral of this itinerant immortal, which was equivalent to the coordinates of other planets. As for what exactly it was, he would have to retrieve it after the battle. Lu Chen stood in the middle of the arena again. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at the corpse on the ground. He said coldly, "Trash." Chapter 1249. After going through the myriad world labyrinth, Lu Chen's all-creation bloodline had been upgraded to the first stage, level 5, and his attributes had increased by 50%. In addition, the effect of the 8 transformations of celestial demons had doubled. Now in front of Lu Chen, itinerant immortals had no power to fight back at all. Accept the next challenge. Lu Chen said coldly. In 30 consecutive challenges, all itinerant immortals were defeated by Lu Chen in 1 move. Lu Chen was a man of his word. This time, he didn't stay behind and killed everyone who fought for Earth's coordinates. No one was left alive. Earth's coordinates were refreshed again and again, and all of them were the words solipsistic defeated challengers. In the human territory, countless people were watching this competition. Even those who didn't pay attention were flooded by the eye-catching warning messages on the planet's information inquiry device. Who is this solipsistic? 30 consecutive wins? He must have killed some itinerant immortals. Look at his immortal arena, there is no change. The fights between itinerant immortals and immortals are not counted in the immortal arena. Even if he is an itinerant immortal, he is not an immortal-level itinerant immortal. 30 consecutive wins. Could he be the strongest among the itinerant immortals? At this moment, almost at the same time, the inquiry device refreshed 20 messages. Solipsistic 1. Earth's current remaining coordinates. 1. Solipsistic 1. Earth's current remaining coordinates. 1. There was only one possibility for 20 messages to be refreshed at the same time. Solipsistic was fighting one against many. They are all itinerant immortals, but this guy can defeat 20 itinerant immortals at the same time? I don't believe it. I'm going to Kunlun City to take a look. At the same time in the spirit territory, a man who looked almost like a human was half lying on the basalt ground. He supported his head with one hand and moved the fingers of his other hand nimbly. If an expert who had cultivated to the level of spiritual observation was here, they would discover that there were 5 spirit threads extending from his 5 fingers, and those 5 spirit threads would then diverge. When he was 20 meters away from this person, the spirit threads had already diverged into a dense number of branches, covering the entire space. Without a doubt, this person was a puppeteer. However, even for puppeteers, no one could control so many puppets at the same time. Qianji, there's news about the person you found. A rogue immortal's voice could be heard from outside the room. This puppeteer was the original Heaven Domain boss that almost killed Lu Chun, the 1000 puppeteer. Hearing this, Qianji immediately kept his left hand and rushed out of the room. Where is he? The person outside the door bowed and answered respectfully. Solipsistic is in the human immortal realm. Right now, he is guarding the last coordinate of his planet, and has already won 50 matches in a row. I've already asked my friends in the human world to send us the images. Qianji hurriedly walked to the other room. A shadow stone was floating in the air, projecting the image of the immortal Colosseum in Kunlun City. Looking at the man in black, Qianji's eyes widened. He could not take his eyes off him. Solipsistic. You can actually reach the 7th layer of heaven, Qianji's subordinate said. This person is not in the immortal realm. He might be a rogue immortal. But someone heard him say that he is not a rogue immortal. Qianji frowned. If he is not in the immortal realm, it means that he has not opened the immortal path. He is not a rogue immortal. How is that possible? Someone heard him say that he is in the human king realm. Human king realm. Qianji frowned. That's right. Back then, I received an order to kill Solipsistic. This means that someone in the upper echelons does not want him to continue on his path. If that is the case, he should not have survived the heaven's tribulation. Qianji's subordinate said. Even if he can't survive the heaven's tribulation, shouldn't he be a rogue immortal? No. Lanfeng, you don't understand. That guy is not an ordinary person. Qianji said. His 3 battle pets are all monsters. Especially that white tiger. I almost died in its hands. Qianji shuddered when he thought of the spiritual energy that exploded when Suboriginator swallowed the spiritual cores of the 4 supreme demonic beasts. Those battle pets are foolishly loyal. They might have used some method to protect that guy when he failed the heaven's tribulation. Qianji thought. Anyway, it's not surprising that anything happened to that guy. But haha, he is not even a rogue immortal. Qianji could not help but laugh. When I went to the 6th layer of heaven, I wanted to kill him. But he grew so fast that he reached the peak of the 6th layer of heaven within a few years. He also had a lot of friends. I had no choice but to undergo the heaven's tribulation in advance. Damn it. It was the great ominous celestial phenomenon at that time. I couldn't even become a true immortal. But luckily, I am a puppet master and the Hongyu celestial master appreciated me. With some time, I could have killed Solipsistic. But who would have thought that after so many years of being careful, that guy is not even a rogue immortal? Ha 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 ha, God is on my side. Lanfeng frowned and said, Qianji, although he is not an itinerant immortal, He is quite powerful. I have never seen such a powerful itinerant immortal other than puppet masters and beast tamers. Qianji snorted. What's the use of being powerful? The upper limit is already sealed. Besides, how many humans are capable of fighting? This was probably the best news that Qianji had heard in so many years. He continued to watch Lu Chen's battle with interest. But as he watched, he realized that something was wrong. 30 rogue immortals. They could not fight at all. In less than 3 minutes, all 30 of them were killed. Qianji, this solipsistic seems to be. Lan Feng said with a frown. Qianji frowned. How many people want to challenge him now? 127 people. Are there any true immortals? There are 38 true immortals. But the strongest is only a 4-star. Earth is only a technological world. Powerful true immortals are usually not interested. Qianji narrowed his eyes. A 4-star immortal might not be able to win. Lan Feng, let our friends talk to him. If 1 is not enough, 2. If 2 is not enough, 3. I don't believe that this guy will be invincible in the 7th layer of heaven. Yes, I will contact them now. Kunlun City, Immortal Arena. Lu Chen held his spear and stood in the middle of the arena. There were only 127 people left out of 183 challengers. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Fighting like this was really too slow. Then he shouted. The remaining 127 people, attack together. Previously, Lu Chen had been fighting against 20 or 30 people at the same time. But these challengers were only rogue immortals. For a powerful true immortal, it was not too difficult. But now it was different. There were true immortals among the 127 people left. Lu Chen didn't even ask and directly asked everyone to attack together. This has already caused a commotion among the immortals who usually don't smile. Is this guy crazy? He is only a rogue immortal, and he wants to challenge 127 people at the same time. There are close to 40 true immortals among them. He is too arrogant. I have been in the 7th layer of heaven for so long and I have never seen someone as arrogant as him. Is this guy really not a true immortal? He killed 50 rogue immortals, and his spiritual energy was not disturbed at all. How can there be such a domineering rogue immortal? He seems to have said that he is not a rogue immortal. At this moment, more than 10 true immortals in the spectator stand stood up. One of them shouted at Lu Chen. Solipsistic, are you sure you want us to attack together? Don't blame us for bullying you with numbers when you lose. Another true immortal said angrily. So arrogant. I did not sign up, but seeing how arrogant you are, fine. I want to see what you are so arrogant about. Solipsistic, aren't you just a rogue immortal who has not even opened the immortal path? You actually dare to shout at a true immortal. Aren't you afraid that we will gang up on you? Lu Chen looked at that person and snorted. So many people have heard it. Are you afraid that I will deny it? Then Lu Chen said loudly. I want you to see if the immortal cultivators of Earth are the trash that you say they are. I also want to warn some people that if they want to attack Earth, they better weigh their own abilities. Saying that the immortal cultivators of Earth are trash? Saying that they do not dare to accept the challenge. Fine. I will show you the courage of the people of Earth. The rest of you, come at me as many as you can. Even if all of you come at me together, I am solipsistic. I will take all of you. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.